Up headlines.
The LA Dodgers hit 6 home runs last night and completed a 3-game sweep of the Red Sox 9-6 out on the West Coast. Shohei Ohtani almost hit one out of Dodger Stadium in this one, and Gavin Lux added a homer of his own as part of a 3-hit, 2 RBI night. The Sox did get a homer and 4 RBIs out of Jarren Duran in the loss. They're a game out of a playoff spot now. They open up a 3-game series in Denver against Colorado tonight. The Sox also announced after last night's game closer Kenley Jansen will not play against the Rockies. He's had heart issues in 3 previous trips to the high altitude. He'll rejoin his team when they come back to Fenway to play the Yankees this coming weekend. The Celtics locked up another key piece of their rotation yesterday. They signed Sam Hauser to a 4-year, $45 million contract extension. They also wrapped up Summer League play with a record of 2-3. Carabao 103-98 lost to Philadelphia in Las Vegas. After barely escaping with a win over South Sudan on Saturday, Team USA plays Germany this afternoon in London in their 5th and final exhibition game before the Summer Olympics. And in golf, PGA Championship winner Xander Schauffele won his 2nd major of the year yesterday in Scotland. He fired a final round of 6 under 65. He won the Open Championship by 2 shots over Justin Rose and Billy Horschel. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by IBEW Local 103 and the Nika Electrical Contractors. For over 50 years, they've been powering TD Garden, making sure it stays lit, safe, and ready for every game. Learn more at thepowerprofessionals.org. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
Here we go. Boom. I win. Kaboom. Yeah.
It's somebody. We've got a passion for Boston sports. Get angry. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Fred, hello. Hello. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
He's naked. He has a sword.
Oopity about with a football.
98.5. The Hub.
Bruins are back from the West Coast. Coast.
Cocaine and hookers. Yes. Na 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 na.
Is it okay to use this for the radio?
Yeah. Welcome to the show, you sweet bitch.
The bad people come, they end up taking her, and a lot of people are going, ooh, oh.
Hey, hello everybody. Hello, how are you doing? Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy. We're in the Town Fair Tire Studios. You can give us a call at 617-779-0985. You can be so kind as to watch us on YouTube, and when you do that, it's very exciting. You go to YouTube and you search for 98.5 The Sports Hub. We're brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Did everyone have a wonderful weekend? Was it an exciting weekend for everyone? Did everyone have a good time?
Oh, it was so good.
Thrill a minute.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
Yep.
I was sick. I was sick up until, I would say, Saturday evening. Then I finally kind of got over it. But by then, my wife and kids were gone. They went away Saturday morning and didn't come back until yesterday evening. So I could convalesce in solitude, which was nice.
Played 9 holes Friday afternoon, 9 holes yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah. At Sassamon Trace, that executive level course you guys love so much.
Sassafras.
Sassafras Pass. That's right. That's where I was.
That's good.
Oh, yeah, John.
Yep.
What you played an executive golf course.
Mm-hmm.
That's your whole weekend story.
That's it. That's all I did. Was it a lot? Was it a thrill a minute, Fred? Did you have some kind of out of body experience that far surpasses what we give you?
Oh my God, Hardy, can you please control him?
I'll expand on my weekend to make up for John's
I mean,
horrific, depressing lack of a weekend. Not only was I sick,
and then his defensiveness. Did you do anything otherworldly? Well, I mean, I did something better than probably playing executive 9-hole cores.
well,
And then to be defensive about it, not to just own it like it was kind of a lame story.
here's the thing, Wallach. I was sick, but I still had a more exciting weekend than you because I not only did the line trimming by myself since my son was gone. He was not there to help me with the lawn.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
It started with the line trimming, and this is a long debated topic on the midday show, and I would love to bring it into you gentlemen here. What is the proper order? I prefer whack, mow, blow, and in that order. Others will tell you they will whack, blow, then mow. Still others will mow, whack, blow, and then the very, very, I would say the rarest of them would be mow, blow, whack. But I prefer the whack, mow, blow. That's my order for weekly lawn maintenance. You understand what I'm saying?
When do you get the hoe out?
That's only in the spring. So
Because if you hoed first,
right,
you could hoe, mow, blow.
Okay, all right. I would probably.
I like that.
I would probably.
Yeah, you got to hoe first.
No, I like that.
And then you mow.
I think Fred's got it.
And then you take the blower out and you blow. Homo blow.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that is the order. I think it would be a homo blow. Maybe hoe whack mo blow, but that doesn't work as well.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Hoe. Yeah, you could hoe, mow, then whack, then blow.
You could what you
but
could,
then you would probably need
you could do
three
the line
people.
trimming first. You could do the whack homo blow. Sure.
Yeah, whack, homo, blow.
You got to whack first.
No, it would be hoe, mow, whack, blow, and but then you would need three guys.
Oh no, I can do it.
Or people.
No, I can do it all by myself.
Very talented.
Well, not if you're really talented, because you would need someone else or a lot of time.
But I prefer to have my son there.
Oh.
There were a series of movies about that, I think.
Ew. John, can we get the FBI into John's computer?
Do you want to talk about?
Does your kid help you with? Okay, I'll get past the lame joke. Are you? Does your son help you with that stuff? You.
Yeah.
Does your son help you with the yard work? He will come out and help you.
Well, I mean, he won't volunteer, but yes, that's one of the things that he does.
Kicking and screaming.
I also had him pulling weeds, I think on Wednesday or Thursday last week, and I gave him like an obscene amount of money for it. Which I told him, I said, look, I'm going to give you a flat fee for pulling every weed in the beds in and around, around the house and on the sides of the yard. But I said, here's the catch. I'm going to go inspect your work when I get home, and I'm going to deduct 50 cents for every weed that you missed.
Kaboom.
And believe me, I've been taken to task by neighbors who saw me out there with a clipboard later that day. Because then he ratted me out to the neighbors, too. And it's like, what? I saw you working hard out there. Yeah, but my dad took away $7.50 because I missed 15 weeds. I'm like, you damn right I did.
That's
It's
like
accountability.
Charles Bukowski's dad used to have him go out on the lawn and cut it with scissors. And then he would go out with a measuring stick and measure the grass. And look at how Bukowski turned out. Who would care? I mean, all right, Carrie, hello.
Hey, guys. Hey, Hardy, how you doing?
Good.
So now, do you do that with the contractors that you pay to manicure your yard too, or just your son? I didn't know that you owned a mower and a blower. I thought that you paid to have that stuff done.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, well, I mean, cleaning the grill. Like, I didn't think that you go into the menial task.
There
you
it
know?
is. Yes. Yeah, well, call Mr. Grill. That's his name. That name again is Mr. Grill. But no,
Mr. Grill, that is his name. That name again is Mr. Grill. So, Kerry, you don't like it that he paid someone to clean his grill?
No, well, I mean, it's just, I mean, I think that's a little bit over the top, isn't it? I mean,
it was, but
get the scraper,
Kerry, I'd let it go. You understand? And it's I take full ownership of that thing. I had not given it a proper cleaning in 2 years, and by the time I looked at it, I'm like, you know what? This guy's a client of the radio station. I'm going to spend some of my money to have him do it, and he did when I say twice as good a job as what I would have done, that doesn't do it justice. So it was worth it. I wouldn't do it every year, but I think if you let it go for a couple of years, that was money well spent.
Because I've never had my grill done. I haven't even had it done once, and my grill's like 5 years old. I'm starting to get concerned now.
See?
Actually, I think it's even more than 5 years.
And now it's a safety hazard. How close is that thing to the house?
Oh, it's within 5 feet for sure.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Get on it, Kerry. Do something. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kerry. All right. Well, there you have it.
I thought he was going to come correct with a joke about mowing and blowing and whacking with the contractors, which could have been a lot of fun.
It could have been.
Shirtless, oiled up, sweaty.
Playing soccer.
Right.
John, it's funny that you mentioned you played where?
Sassamon Trace.
It's funny because I talked to Hardy yesterday.
Yeah,
Hardy called me.
Yeah, well, go ahead. No, go ahead.
And Hardy, where was I fresh off of when you were when I talked to you?
I'm sorry. Was this the first or second time you played over the course of 3 days? I guess it was yesterday, so it was the second time. He had just come off the country club for a second time.
I've heard that.
Because,
No, you didn't hear that.
Oh, no, this is the second time. Okay.
Yeah,
He played
which
again.
is the whole lead into it that you missed.
He played again on Sunday because if anybody deserves to play the country club twice inside of 3 or 4 days, it's Fred Toucher.
Right.
Lover of the game, big, adamant supporter of golf in New England, Mass Golf Partner, all those. Oh, no, wait, that wrong guy. Whatever. Fred, you really deserve it because you love it, and it's not lost on you. All of that history and all of the beautiful surroundings, everything about it. I'm sure you could tell me as much as any historian about Francis Ouimet, point out his house along the side street
Francis
there.
Ouimet, Woodland takes credit for Francis Ouimet too. He's all over their bag tags. So there's a lot of I know the story, but Woodland says, "Hey, not so fast."
What is
too.
Woodland's claim to Francis Ouimet?
That he was a member there and that he played there. I know that he was a caddy at the country club, right? Or maybe he was a caddy at Woodland.
He caddied at the country club, and then he played the U.S. Open there. Where
Yeah. But Woodland's got their big things, the Weeneck Club Cup, and he's on all the bag tags. It's I don't know what.
Well, everybody does. They've got the Ouimet statue outside of Putterham or whatever it's called now, Brookline Golf Course. Ponkapog. I think he played more golf at Ponky than he did at Woodland and the country club combined.
All right. Well, that's probably in the weeds for a lot of people, but the only reason I know his name is because of the bag tags. But,
you called Hardy to piss him off is basically.
I didn't call Hardy. He called me. And what the thing is that I'm not off after pissing anyone off is probably why I keep getting invited to play with people, because even though I have no care for the history of the place, first of all, the show in the with the caddies and the staff of the place, the show is huge. In fact, they told me that they were more excited about me playing than they had been about anyone in a very long time, because all they get is CEOs from companies and no salt of the earth celebrities like me.
Yeah.
I'm not lying about that, actually. A lot of fans of the show. People asked about Hardy. Not so much John, because I think that they know that Hardy's just a step below being able to play there. But I think it shows that on Thursday I made such an impression on everyone that they were like, come back on Sunday. But you do have to walk. You do have to walk.
I would love that. Did you have a caddy yesterday?
No. On the weekend they didn't make you.
How's that foot of yours holding out? You were struggling on Friday morning.
Oh, that's right.
The guy that I played with, that's the member, is 40, and I told him yesterday that about my foot, and he's like, "Yeah, like my legs were shot too." It's a very hilly course, as you know, Hardy.
How'd you play?
I hit the ball very, very far, and I was very, very inconsistent. I parred probably 4 holes.
Oh, all right.
And then other than that, I lost probably about 7, 8 balls.
Oh.
I didn't look very hard. You're carrying your.
There aren't 7 places to hide a ball out there. What the hell were you doing?
Obviously, you haven't been out there very much.
I've played him. Let me tell you something. Let me see
There's
how many
that
balls I
fescue.
lost that day. Oh, there's 0 balls.
There's that fescue. There's that. Well, you probably looked around like an a-hole, which is probably why you've never been back.
No, fairways and greens, baby. That's me.
Oh, that wasn't me. You know what I did do though, which I'm not happy about, is that I had a 90-yard approach shot, and so I said I'll get my pitching wedge. And I sailed that thing about 130. I don't like that. And it hit the rocks and then bounced up over the rocks.
It's that testosterone.
Northeast Men's Health, baby. If you want to start hitting these pitching wedges 130, get after it. That's what you do. But, John, while you were putting around nickel and diamond, 9 to 5 at nickel and diamond, I was moving, shaking, headline making. That's all. You know how much it cost me?
I'm thinking 0, by the way you're setting this up.
Yeah, played twice, 36 holes, $0 I paid.
Well, you tipped out the caddy the first time.
I didn't tip him out. He did.
Wow.
I didn't even have any money on me. I don't bring a wallet with me down to the golf course.
Slight breach of etiquette there, Fred.
Didn't tip yesterday either?
Who am I going to tip yesterday?
Oh, you didn't have a caddy yesterday.
Jonathan.
Oh.
Twice you haven't been paying attention. Already.
I played a little bit over the weekend, but I watched more golf than anything. I love the Open Championship, so that happened over the weekend. Watched some Red Sox last night. Wow. That was fun. That was actually fun. It was fun toward the end.
See a big superstar hit a big ding dong.
Yeah.
Almost out of the stadium.
And I still haven't seen Twisters.
Oh.
Good. Keep it that way. I went and saw Inside Out 2 again with my daughter.
You went to see it a second time.
It's not a bad movie.
Well, okay. But
they have popcorn and candy and the sodas that you can make.
You go there for the soda machine. That's right.
They have the soda machine that you can put the cherry in the Coke Zero. It's very exciting times.
Now, do you put the diet, like the sugar-free cherry? You just do a splash of fully loaded cherry in the Coke Zero.
You can't choose how much goes into it, but I'd imagine that there's calories in the cherry mix. That's fine. I've been walking a lot because of all the golf I'm playing at the country club. I think I can afford it, calorie-wise.
Well, you can afford it because you're not tipping anybody either. So you got money to burn.
It's a good thing I didn't tip the caddy because I had no idea how much you were supposed to tip him, and it would have been really embarrassing.
Here you go, $20, young man.
Yeah, he handed the caddy $200. But I saw a guy tip out a caddy when I was done yesterday, and he just had a couple 20s. So I think that I don't know if my friend had to tip out the $200 that he tipped out, but listen, he married very wealthy. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. everybody. We are Toucher and Hardy. Hardy, what's going down?
What's going on that phone? You got a lot going on there this morning.
Yeah, I got a lot going on, baby. Don't worry about it.
Everything all right?
Oh, yeah. Everything's fine.
Red Sox began the unofficial. It's not even the second half. What were they? 90 games in at the All-Star break there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They were 91 games, 92, whatever.
Still think of it like the second half of the season. Anyway, went out to L.A. playing the Dodgers. Lost the first two games.
Mm-hmm.
Not looking great. And Jared Duran hit the a home run in the first inning there, and put the Sox up 2-0. And things were looking pretty good. Not in bad shape. And Shohei Ohtani got to the plate in the fifth inning.
Ohtani!
Oh, I forgot about it like paying my taxes. Don't throw me in jail, brother man.
Wow!
Oh, no. Oh, I've been urinating outside. It's time to get out of here. $473. That's too much of a fine. All I did was pee on an elementary school.
Feet for Shohei Ohtani. That was a shot. He almost hit it out of here.
Why don't you
Ridiculous.
show me those boobies?
Shohei Ohtani with his 30th home run of the year, 473 feet to center field, almost left the park. That put the Dodgers up 6-2. And I saw at that was about the time I turned the game on, unfortunately, so I missed the home run live. But at that point, the Dodgers had I think a 97% win probability with 3 innings left to play. I'm like, oh, not giving the Sox a lot of chances here. They did make things interesting, though. Had a bit of a rally that ended up falling short as the Red Sox would go on to lose by a final of 9-6, swept by the Dodgers in L.A.
Okay, so Ohtani hit that about 158 yards. So if you want to look at it as football fields, people can throw a football 70 yards in the air. Isn't that strange? When I heard how long he hit it, I started doing the math, like yesterday. I started doing the math, and I'm like, it seems like you'd be able to hit a ball a lot farther than you could throw a ball.
I've said this for years. So 473 feet. I'm like, yeah, that's an easy 7-iron. That's no big deal. I could, I'm not that, I'm not that impressed. But when you do the football field analogy, you factor in the 2 end zones, Fred. So with the end zones, line up the 2 fields back to back, stand at the back of one end zone. You're going to hit it all the way over the football field and up to the 50-yard line of the next one.
Mm-hmm. No. Because the football fields with the 2 end zones, if you keep the 2 end zones, that's 9-18, so that's 118 yards.
9-yard end zones?
10-yard end zone.
No, because then wire touchdowns 100. Kickoff returns the longest kickoff return is 109 yards.
Because if it's 110, your back heel would probably be standing on the end line.
Bingo.
Oh, fair enough. All right, so 110 yards. So they're 120 yards of the football field.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All right, so that makes it even shorter than what Hardy said. It wouldn't go to the 50. It would go to the 30 of the other football field. No, it wouldn't. It would go to the 20 of the other football
300.
field.
It'd be 360 feet from the back of one end zone to the front of the end zone.
So it would go to the other 20.
We'll go to the 30.
To 20 because it's 10 yards for the end zone.
10 yards for 3 end zones is 30 yards.
Right.
Add 100 yards for the
130.
first 130. And what did you say? It was 158 yards?
Oh, fair. Okay. 20, 30.
30.
Whatever. Yeah, all right, 30.
Okay, so it'd be to the 30.
All right, very good.
It's not a short home run. I'll give Ohtani some credit, but it's still an easy 7-iron. I mean, easy. I didn't catch all of that.
You can hit a 7-iron over 160 yards?
Yeah.
It's impressive.
You hit your pitching wedge 130.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that never has happened before.
Oh.
And that was a mistake. I didn't get enough loft on it.
I understand.
I mean, it carried that far, but it was. I didn't get enough loft. I didn't get enough. I didn't get it in the air enough.
Anyway, Dave Roberts really likes Shohei Ohtani, which is amazing. Why did Dave Roberts like that guy?
Just really impressive. Gosh, I mean, he just does things. Seems like every night that people just can't do. I'm happy he's wearing a Dodger uniform, but
what? But what? You got nothing else to say? Is he having any fun though, Dave? Ohtani, is he enjoying himself?
the main thing for me, what I see from Shohei, is he's just really enjoying being a Dodger. He's enjoying his teammates, enjoying the fan base.
Having his translator steal his money.
He's enjoying being out from under that gambling scandal.
Yeah.
He's enjoying not going to jail.
Yes,
I mean,
indeed.
he doesn't say much, but he sits there and smiles a lot in the clubhouse. Yeah, he really likes it.
Did you see the thing from the All-Star game where the Japanese guy from the Cubs came up to Ohtani, and the Japanese guy's got his translator, and then the mascot of one of the team's mascots comes up. It's at the All-Star game.
Yeah.
So did the Rangers have a weird like monster as their mascot? Some like mascot in full regalia comes up, and Ohtani's like, "What?" But he knows the guy in the Cubs, and they're like, "He's from Hiroshima," and then Ohtani's like, "Oh, like okay, like all right, like now we're down."
Oh yeah, so we're all supposed to know each other?
Yeah, well, no, but like just the idea that he was from Hiroshima, that the guy was like, "Oh, okay, like all right, you passed the test," because you could tell Ohtani wanted nothing to do with the mascot, but then he was told. But I'll tell you, not a word of English between them. That's got to be very difficult. Have you ever just inquired on how to learn how to speak Japanese?
I have not. No.
Just like even like a rudimentary lesson, not like going to a teacher, but just
Why would
online.
I live in America. I speak American.
That's a great point. But I have stumbled upon by accident, not wanting to. I've completely ignored it and blocked it
As long as you didn't seek it out, I feel better. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but like this is going to sound really dumb, but like the way that you write things is very complicated. Like the letter is like a very complicated exercise with many stops and starts, and it's not interconnected. It's a whole situation. No. So I'd imagine learning English is impossible. Let alone learning Japanese seems like over my head.
I wouldn't even attempt to learn written Japanese, but the language has to be easier than it's got to be like light years easier than learning the written.
And then they have this way, like a wave that some words are like wah, and some words are wah, and some words are wah. Like it's like a whole like
inflection
thing.
Matters.
Inflection, I would believe that's what it is. Yes, inflection does matter.
Yeah.
In fact, it's everything. Don't go to Japan and not inflect, and don't go to Japan and shoot pornography where you show the penis. That has to be pixelated.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, someone doesn't like octopus porn.
What's the point? Not going to get a hog reveal. What am I looking at it for?
I don't know. We've been waiting for that for a while.
I'm kind of over that. Did you have a good weekend there, Tony? Did you?
Oh,
Were you busy?
I enjoyed the video of him sitting on his couch watching the Open Championship. It's just something. It was weird to begin with. Now I'm convinced there's something wrong. There's something
that's been speculated
wrong.
in the comments several times.
Yeah,
that there's a bit of a situation going on.
There's pathology there, is what I'm saying.
Again, he's on Fox News. We're talking about Tony P in D.C. on Instagram, which at a point I thought was the greatest thing in Instagram because it renewed my faith in people being funny as a collective, like just people. Like after how boring Twitter was and how many fits and starts Twitter had, or someone would have a good concept for a Twitter page and then it would just devolve into like just insulting everyone and acting like a psycho. This Tony P in DC, now they're insulting the Tony, but they're done so in a collective funny way. But then for some reason, this Tony P is getting opportunities to be on TV and he's going to like these events and you're like, it's not as funny if he's benefiting from it. You got to move on to someone else.
Yeah.
And that's the danger of having one of those Instagram pages. You start taking advantage of it enough, people are going to start losing interest. Like, Tony P should have known, like, I got a pretty good thing going here. Everyone's, like, ripping on me. Like, maybe I keep it. Because he did, like, a Duncan ad talking about his dead grandma on the beach. And he was like a paid thing from Duncan. I'm sure Duncan didn't tell him to do it that way.
Yeah.
I'm sure Duncan was just like, okay, here's like an influencer, like whatever, we'll give you some gift cards. But he was like, and then I picked up these bagel bites and then went out to the beach, and my dead grandma used to take me out here. So I took some time to reflect on her while I sipped on a cool iced coffee. And you're like, oh, Tony. That's not good.
Tone. Oh, Tone.
Tone.
You're right about Twitter, though. Even like the good accounts, like lose their way. There was one that I followed. It was PGA Tour. Tour was spelled wrong, TUOR, but it had the logo, and it would attribute these like unbelievable quotes to players, and it looked authentic. And they were funny. It took like reading a few of them to realize it was a parody account, but it had legitimately funny stuff on it. After the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, it's just gone full conspiracy MAGA. And the guy said, I told him I'd lose a lot of followers over this, but I don't care. Like,
okay, then you don't care. Then you've lost all your followers because you were doing something funny and now you're not. And it was a dumb parody Twitter account. See, like, no one cares about what the guy behind the PGA Tour quotes thinks about the Trump thing. He could make his own thing, but if you've made a little solid Twitter thing happening by just doing dumb PGA quotes, yes, if you go and start pontificating on matters that aren't dumb PGA quotes, people are going to get upset. Again, Twitter has had really one guy who figured it out, which is Dad Boner. And he's the one who figured it out. Like, Dad Boner is the best. There's never going to be another one like it. It's by far the best. And now it's kind of over. He's sick of it. Burns, the guy who did it, is sick of it. And so he barely even posts his Dad Boner anymore. And that's it. PGA Club Pro or Club Pro guy. Club Pro guy is funny, but he sells a lot of stuff too. And it's kind of getting old. Dad Boner is really the one who, but I can't tell you, Hardy, how many like accounts I went, oh, that's like a novel concept. It would like combine a couple things, like random things, and then you would think that the tweets were going through the lens of that creation.
Yeah.
And then it would just devolve into you suck or like, stupid, complaining.
Yeah.
And you're like, you had like a nice little niche. Like when Road Steamer had Ricky Valens' brother from the movie La Bamba as a MySpace account, and I couldn't stop laughing. I laughed so hard I cried because it was the first time I'd seen someone do that.
Yeah.
Just said, this is the account of the character from La Bamba that's Richie's brother. Brother Bob, and he's mad about the art contest.
Right.
And why no one's paying attention to him. He won a $500.
Rosie wouldn't give me any last night. Stuff like that. Yeah. All his wall posts or whatever it was on MySpace was just in the character of Brother Bob. It was brilliant.
But then if Road Steamer started going like, oh, hey, there's aliens, I'd be like, well, that's not what the guy from La Bamba thought. That's what you think.
Yeah.
And I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. We'll come back and we'll let you talk about the British Open. We'll let you go. You cut loose.
I just talk about all the money I lost. All my guys puked all over themselves.
Well, I joined some dating app that it just runs up money. It's this like exclusive thing.
Sweet.
And then they just go, here, money. Oh, you want to see this? No money. and it's not cheap.
You got to give me more money.
Yeah, they're like, it's like $500 if you want to see this. And you're like, huh? But I want to get laid. And they're like, well, you could get a prostitute or you could pay us. What do you want to do? And the prostitute's not going to like it.
Either way,
conceivably, this person is at least going to be doing it voluntarily.
Yeah, there's an outside chance it will be a mutually satisfactory experience.
As long as it's consensual, that's where my responsibility ends, my friend.
Good for you, Fred.
Yeah, you enjoy it or not.
Well
that's
done.
That's no concern of mine. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub.
righty. We are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. And Hardy, be still my heart. Someone's got a double major, economics and kicking ass.
What?
Someone's got double major, economics and communications.
Oh.
Packaging and history. Follow along. I'm being super funny over here.
Okay.
Come on. Keep with me, fellas. I know it's a Monday, but I'm cooking.
Was I the only one that got that?
Yes. Yeah, well, you're the only one with a really good sense of humor for my super funny joke. Wallach's been lost the whole morning. Go ahead. And then he gets so defensive. It's really off-putting.
And then it's
your
the
poor family.
And then you start gaslighting, which we're not sure what it is, but I'm pretty sure you're doing it, John.
And you can't smell it on the stove because it, he, on account of being having just a beak.
Do birds have noses?
Nope.
Oh, I didn't. Duh.
Stupid.
Yeah, stupid.
152nd Open Championship, Royal Troon yesterday. Billy Horschel was your 54-hole leader. And I said, now's the time to place a big bet on Billy Horschel. I was pissed off on Saturday night. I'm like, Xander Schauffele has better odds to win it right now, and he's a couple strokes, he's like one stroke off the lead. Scotty Scheffler had better odds to win that tournament, and he was 2 strokes off the lead. I said, this is an insult to Billy Horschel. I'm going to put a lot of money on Billy Horschel. And then Xander Schauffele.
Just about as stress-free a championship major Sunday that you will ever see.
Not for me.
Xander Schauffele in at 9 under, 65. His second major championship.
Wow.
About to become official.
What an exciting, you can really feel like you're there. Like, what an exciting call.
So part of the problem was he was not in the final group. He was playing ahead of Horschel and some
Barbarino.
Some South African doughy-looking guy, Thurston Howell, something or other. I don't even know. I've never even heard of the guy before. Thurston Lawrence.
Tristan Lawrence.
Oh, is it Tristan?
Yeah, the H for some reason is silent.
Like Charlize Theron,
yes.
as Wayne Mutta used to tell me.
It looks like Thurston, but it's something else.
You remember Crazy Wayne, the engineer in the over in Brighton?
Do I ever?
Yes.
He got a colonoscopy. He would not take medicine.
Yes. Bobby Poole, you need to deadlift, bench press, and take psyllium husk fiber. You're looking a little doughy, my friend.
What happened to that guy?
I don't know.
I just remember. I'll remember him for the rest of my life. He got a colonoscopy without any anesthesia.
Yeah.
And not for kicks, because he just didn't want drugs in his system.
One of the first stories he ever told me after I met him was that. Inside of the first 2 days of knowing him, he told me that.
Yeah, and I wasn't positive they'd let you do that. Like that they. Can you imagine if you're the proctologist and you're like, the guy comes in and I don't know where you get yours, but I go to a place when I've gotten my last colonoscopy a few years ago that the only thing they do is colonoscopies. And so there's just a line of beds with people waiting to get colonoscopies. And the guy, like a Valvoline, just goes through and does it. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, no, you won't need the anesthesiologist for this one. He's going to be awake. Oh, Jesus. He's going to be awake? Because it's got to be so easy when everyone's just dead on the table and you just can do whatever you want.
You just manhandle them.
I told you I woke up during my first one. My mom was so paranoid. I got a colonoscopy at 35 because my mom wouldn't leave me alone about it. And every time I tell a doctor I got one at 35, they're like, why? Why did you do that? And I'm like, my mom, because there's a history of colon cancer in my family. And they're like, you weren't going to get it at 35. And they look at me like I had some weird fetish or something.
But so what? Your mom wanted you to get one. You weren't living at home. And tell her no. I'm not going to get a colonoscopy. My doctor said I don't need one.
No. I never really asked the doctor about it. I just kind of said I want to get a colonoscopy, and they're like, okay, and they referred me.
Oh.
But I never really got into it. But my mom scared me. She was like, you have to get. She kept saying it. If someone in your life tells you 1,000,000 times, like, you have to have this medical procedure or you're going to die, chances are you're going to give in to the medical procedure.
If that person is a doctor, but if it's my hysterical mother, maybe not.
Yeah, well, she was only 35. She was still in her 60s, so she was still making a little sense.
Okay.
82, I'm not listening to a word.
You seen this Shane Lowry guy? You know who Shane Lowry is, the golfer?
Yeah, the Pixie, the Pogues.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Not a lot of teeth. Now, this Shane Lowry was a likable enough guy, and then I started to see little things. Ryder Cup last year, he yells at an official for making too much noise. Then over the weekend, not once, but twice. First of all, he yells at a guy who was standing over in the left rough when he hooked one. It was about to go into the gorse, and it hits this guy's umbrella and keeps it in play. After he goes up, finds his ball, hits his shot, he gets picked up on camera saying, "Next time, don't stand in the middle of the effing fairway when we're trying to hit." I'm like, you fat prick. He just saved your ball from going probably, not out of bounds, but at least unplayable. Then he yells at a cameraman yesterday for having the audacity to, I don't know, have a camera out there during the major championship known as the Open Championship. Mm-hmm. So he's just a big pile of prick, this guy. I'm convinced now. I think the whole, jolly, chubby guy walking around who also happens to be really good at golf might be just a ruse.
So when he blew
out
up
on Shane Lowry,
when he blew up on the back nine Saturday, you were very happy.
And he was taking it out on everybody. What did he say afterwards?
It is, and you're at this is the very top level, and you go out there and put yourself out there in front of everyone and give it your best. And yesterday afternoon wasn't a high point in my career. Those 9 holes, I'm probably going to rue them for a while. But it is what it is now, and I'm proud of myself the way I came back today. I hold some great putts when I needed to. And
yeah, I'm very proud of you too. Why don't you go back and not only apologize to the guy you yelled at on Saturday, but thank him for actually keeping you in the hunt for a few more holes.
I don't understand when tennis players, or I could see because of ball boy not doing it because you're hopefully a kid, but if you're an adult and another adult just starts yelling at you, why you don't just go F you?
Especially these guys are almost certainly volunteers out there doing that stuff. Actually, I think the guy that he hit on Saturday may have worked for the Sirius XM broadcast of the Open on PGA Tour radio or whatever, which
if I messed up and a golfer yelled at me, it was my mistake and he yelled at me, I'd be like, all right, yeah, and then I would hope his demeanor changed. But if I was just doing my job and not doing anything wrong and the guy started yelling at me, I wouldn't put up with that.
No, of course not.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm starting to learn things that I don't, because I used to just think I didn't like anything. I'm starting to learn what I really don't like. And it's 2 things. False sense of power from people with no power over me. I can't stand that. Again, when someone, we've gotten to this argument before, but when someone stops traffic that's not supposed to stop traffic, you can't, don't do that. Or the loser at the dog park, goes I'm going to give you a ticket. No, you're not. You're not doing anything. You're not a police officer. And then another thing is when another adult talks down to me that has no business doing so. If I didn't do anything wrong, don't talk down to me.
Yeah.
Who the hell are you? And I wouldn't care if they were a professional golfer and I was on the XM broadcast. And if XM fired me, I'd be like, F you. You want me to, and then I'd sue their asses. You think I should put up with a verbal assault and I can't say anything in my defense? I'd sue XM for firing me if they're like, you can't yell back at the golfer. F you, I can't yell back at the golfer. Guy yelled at me.
But these guys who are out there, whether it was there was the marshal at the Ryder Cup last year. That one is easily found. That one was all over Twitter where the guy says, everyone quiet down, please. And Shane Lowry turns around and goes, you're making more effing noise than anybody. Jesus Christ. And it wasn't like he was getting ready to hit his shot either. He was just kind of looking at it. I would say, something? Why don't you keep him quiet? I don't even want to be here. This is my 3rd day here. I'm here for free. The marshals at golf tournaments, they're not paid. They're it's yeah, I'd like to volunteer. I'd like to be there. But why don't you go eat some more cake?
You know,
Fat
if
boy.
he said that you're making more noise than them, then I would have taken my palms and raised them in the air
All right.
and
Yep.
encouraged the crowd. All right, let's go, guys. Let's
hear it.
Let's waste management open this son bitch.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's start climbing trees. Okay, you want everyone to yell? Great. Now, you know what I'm gonna. You don't want me to do this? No problem. I won't do S. And you can run around and listen to it because Lord knows it would be the worst thing in the world if people were talking while you were playing golf. And if you can't shut out that noise, I understand in your backswing if someone yells, but if you can't, I mean, with a gallery around you, if you can't shut out noise, if you have that lack of focus, you're never going to win anything because you got to be able to block that crap out.
Especially at the Ryder Cup where people are loud. That's where it gets intense. Whatever. Congratulations to Xander Schauffele. Okay. He's now on his first two majors in the same year. Not since somebody. Okay. Who cares?
All right. So when we come back, is the NFL going to go to flag football? There is some talk, maybe in our lifetime or our kids' lifetimes. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy.
Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube. Oh, do it. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. I heard a guy yesterday saying, I guarantee people in their 20s, one thing that will happen during their lifetime is that the NFL will no longer have tackling. And that is a controversial statement. After all, the NFL is king by far. It's a 300, let's say it's a 350 day a year sport. There was, in fairness, a couple weeks there where there was nothing going on.
But not by their choice. They want it every day. But yes, they have managed to make that a year-round enterprise.
Well, Mike Florio is a lawyer. Say what you will about his football acumen, but he is a lawyer, and he knows about what's going on legally with the NFL. And obviously, they've had some rough luck lately in the concussion issues. The ex-players suing could get to be a lot. Insurance could be very difficult to be had, and he had this, among other things, to say. Because, not this Olympics, but the next Olympics is going to be flag football, that I'm sure your kids have played flag football at some point. It's all the NFL Play 60 stuff. Flag football's the worst. It's really bad in that it's a dumb game because it's too easy, and also, for some reason, none of my son's coaches, in fairness, let me get that on the record, but there are coaches that are total hard-ons, which is funny because it's less physical. It's less physical and less intimidating than even baseball. Like baseball, you can slide hard into someone. You can barrel over the catcher. I mean, in Little League, they're going to kick you out, but you can. You can throw at a kid. I mean, that's for sure. I saw it yesterday. A kid bunted in a game where they were up by a lot, and the next pitch, the kid threw at him, and he should have. The kid bunted foul, and everyone on the bench started yelling, and so the kid, the next pitch, kid threw inside, and everyone said, "Okay, fair enough." Didn't hit him, we juiced him up a little bit, got him off the plate. So I would contend facing even an 80-mile-an-hour fastball is way scarier than anything that's going to happen in flag football. So flag footballs, but these coaches, I don't even know if they're dads. These coaches run around like they're Bear Bryant. Like there's no contact. What are you yelling about? And what plays are you devising? You can't block. You're not allowed to block in flag football. At least what my son played, you weren't allowed to. I mean, it was just running routes.
Yeah, they have this on television now. There was a flag football game when I sat down here this morning. No blocking. Everybody goes out for a pass.
Yeah, and they're like, RPO. You can only RPO on these certain plays. Who cares? So the fast kid would probably be the best, right? Tall or fast. Tall, you can just go catch everything. And fast, you can just break everyone. You can just run past everyone. But here's Mike Florio talking about maybe the future of the NFL.
Joe Burrow said to them that he wants to play flag football in 2028 when flag football is part of the Olympics. And we've heard other NFL players say, I'd like to be involved in this. Right, you want to get a gold medal if you can.
By the way, Joe Burrow also saying he wanted to play more football games. And I'm sure the union was very excited about that. Did you guys hear that? That Joe Burrow came out and he's like, I want more than a 17-game season, the ideal season. And you would have two. His idea was you would have two. Here's how dumb Joe Burrow is. You would have 2 bye weeks, and in one of the bye weeks, they'd have the Pro Bowl. Yeah. So everyone, hey, you don't get a week off. They have one bye week that's for the entire NFL.
Major League Baseball, you have it in the middle of the season. Why not do it here?
Yeah, they'll all go.
Everyone, right in the middle. Sure.
I'm sure the players' union was like, fantastic, Joe. Yeah, let's just, without any compensation, let's just let everyone know you want to do it.
It's so much easier to do flag football. More countries can get involved. Men's and women's flag football teams will be assembled. And the NFL, coincidental to this effort that was ultimately successful to make flag football part of the Olympics, the NFL is all in with flag football. It's flag football this and it's flag football that. And there's a caveat. The old school football people look at flag football and look at the NFL's effort to encourage and advance flag football as a potential threat. And I'm not saying they're right. I'm just saying they're concerned. It's a potential threat to the supply of tackle football players. Because if we start diverting kids from tackle football to flag football, which really it's two different sports, different skills, different abilities. You know, when the commissioner was testifying a couple of years ago this month in the lawsuit over whether or not the NFL was going to get insurance coverage for the concussion settlement, he was pressed on this issue. And he said, oh, well, we don't really care about that because there's such a small percentage that finally make it to the NFL. But the thing is, if you start taking kids that could eventually make it to the NFL and having them play other sports and never developing as football players with helmets and shoulder pads and everything that goes with playing tackle football, you are hurting the supply.
All right. Well, first of all, what Goodell said was right. He said that out of the kids that aren't playing, the kids that play football, less than 1% of them would ever play professional football. Like less than 1% of 1% would play professional football. So it doesn't really matter. And he's correct. And second of all, if the talent pool dwindles and the talent pool dwindles, how are we going to know the difference? If the entire talent pool has dwindled, then everyone's on the same wavelength, and then how are we going to know? I mean, records will still be broken. The game has changed. It's not like players all of a sudden be slow and fat.
Right.
Like wide receivers are going to be like 5'9", 220 pounds, running, 7.5 40.
If you can't play football, you're not going to be forced into playing football.
Yeah,
if you run a 5'2" 40 and you're a wide receiver, you're not going to be under any circumstances recruited to be a replacement player.
And there's communities there's certain communities that are never going to stop playing football, and there's certain parts of the country that are never going to stop playing football. That they'll drag their feet, they'll play with no insurance. I mean, that's just going to happen. And so that's the thing is that I told you I heard the guy say that in the lifetime of people that are alive right now, that there won't be tackle football anymore. And to that, I would say there's too much money. And you can't just replace it with another game because, as Florio said, flag football is not football at all. And that's not an old school way of thinking of it. A major part, I mean, the entire game's different. It would be like baseball without batting. Tackling is a big deal in football. And also blocking schemes and figuring that whole thing out, the pass rush, like all that stuff, you can rush in flag football, but it's a joke. You like one potato, two potato it.
I think the money is almost always going to be the answer, Fred, and you just said it. The money is going to be so much greater for tackle football, given the chance to go be the greatest quarterback in the flag football league 10 years from now, or, hey, you're good enough to play tackle. And by the way, as a quarterback, you don't get hit all that much. You could go be a backup for a team and make more money than what you're going to make at the top of the league in flag football. That's what players are going to do. The ones who are truly talented and have the gift are going to go play where they're going to make the most money.
Well, that's the thing is that Florio's saying that not necessarily even it's flag football. It's that you get the kids are playing other sports, but that's been happening. And again, that I don't think that matters. There'll be no money to be made in flag football. The NFL now, is the NFL going to be the biggest sport in the world or in the country in 100 years from now? No. Again, if you looked 100 years ago from today, the biggest sports were horse racing, boxing, and baseball, and those aren't the biggest. Two of them, no one cares about anymore, at all, except for Mike Francesa. So, I mean, no, NFL chances are in 100 years is not going to be the biggest sport. Things will change. But there's so much money in it right now. If I'm the NFL and I know that parents are not prone to putting their kids in tackle football, and I really wish I never played my son tackle football because all he did was have a garbage coach that didn't let them hit, and then he got a concussion his first game, and it screwed up his whole freshman year, and I wish I never would have had him play football. But I still want money, and I still want to benefit on youth sport. So if I'm the NFL, I'm throwing all that money into anything I can into the flag football leagues to make money on that level. But I'm not concerned at all about the pipeline going in. Even if kids only played tackle football in the South and in California, it wouldn't matter at all. Or in the Midwest, it's never going away in those places. And even if that was the case, like my son and his friends don't play football, Like, none of those kids, like, those athletic kids at my son's school never played football. Like, they just had, Miles was the only one that played football. The other ones didn't. And the thing is that they still all like the NFL probably more than any other sport because of fantasy and because of gambling,
right?
And because of everything else, the excitement of the games, the amount of attention it gets. I wouldn't be worried about losing my fan base, and I'm certainly not worried about losing the pipeline. I mean, you're afraid. So what? Basketball? How many people? It's like the idea that, like, well, okay, LeBron James plays in the NBA. He could have been a great football player. Did that kill the NFL? I mean, how many people play in the NBA? What sports are these guys going to that they're going to make money? They're not going to baseball. You know, they could conceivably play basketball. And so, you've lost 3 guys?
Yeah, the AUDL put a dent into the NFL for a couple of years, the American Ultimate Disc Alliance. But other than that, there hasn't been a huge threat to the NFL.
Yeah, but I'd question if kids have the discipline to throw the disc around and to get out there in the woods.
As I told Scott Zolak before, I turned him. He's an absolute lover of throwing the disc now. I said, when a football goes to sleep at night, it dreams of being a Frisbee. Okay? And once you experience that yourself, then you understand.
The first time you bend one around a tree.
Oh, heaven.
And then tap it for sap.
You remember where you were. But don't you think still, though, that even with flag football being played more at a youth level, and I played it at the Auburn Heights Boys and Girls Club. I mean, that's what you played. It was flag football. That was the number one sport, and that and basketball. Those were the 2 things that you played in any kind of like community center or anything like that. Don't you think that if that increases in popularity, that will serve as a feeder to get kids into tackle? I don't think I'm having trouble wrapping my head around on how it could ultimately be anything other than helpful to tackle football. I
think what it hurts is the Olympics, because now we understand with the Jaylen Brown thing and the NFL strong-arming flag football into the Olympics that the Olympics is just a corporate con job. That
more brazen in that regard now than it has been in past years. And I think people are going to take one look at flag football in the Olympics and go, my God, this is boring.
It's
and you won't ever see it again.
It's so boring. I understand not highlighting like big hits because, again, go on YouTube and look at the Sports Illustrated commercials from the 1980s. I mean, they highlight everything you're not allowed to do now. I mean, the Jets-Miami game where the guy spins around like a helicopter and lands.
Right.
Like, I mean,
right.
How many Jack Lambert hits were in highlight packages where he's like knocking dudes' helmets off? They can't show that anymore. That I understand. But, I mean, if you're just changing the sport and not allowing tackling, well, then that's an entirely different sport, and it's not. No one's going to watch it. It's not fun to watch. There's a difference between being fun to play and fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, the article made a great point of saying it's like golf and miniature golf. Sure, it's fun to go play miniature golf, but you're not going to watch it.
I'd go so far as to say that if you took all the people that play golf as adults and compared it to what sports other sports adults play, golf is going to be ahead 20-30 to 1. And the amount of that population that watches professional golf is minuscule compared to what watches the other 4 major sports.
Right.
Yeah.
So playing the sport doesn't even really. And how many people on the radio in this market or nationally that talk about sports for a living played high school football? Like, if you want to take it to the extreme, I mean, I did. You guys didn't. I don't know if Bertrand did. I don't think Felger did. Felger might have. Maz probably didn't. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Bertrand did.
Okay, Bertrand and Murray did.
Yeah.
Joe Murray did. I don't know if Jim Murray did, but it doesn't matter. But like, if playing it meant anything, I mean, how many GMs in the league played high school football? I bet you there's GMs in the NFL that didn't play high school football. There's certainly GMs in baseball that didn't play sports. That I can tell you.
Yeah, that's very true.
Coach Brewer told me to go home in 8th grade. He said I was going to get hurt.
Good for Coach Brewer.
Come here. You don't belong here. Why don't you go home?
Were you
You're gonna get
upset
hurt."
at the time?
No, because it was hot. I
Yeah.
wanted to go home anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, if they would have told me when I was at North and they let the psycho ex alumni come back and put you through it was before you put pads on, but they let them torture you. Like kids that were playing at Wayne State and stuff, they thought it was pretty funny to have them come and torture us in a non-air conditioned school.
Yeah.
And
Wall
having to do
sits.
wall sits and stuff. Yeah, until like kids were crying and throwing up.
That's right.
That was a lot of fun.
That's right.
And good on them. Because and good on them because that's what made me this neurotic man I am today.
Flag football is going to have a window of about 3 years here, 3 or 4 years here, and then we'll get to the Olympic Games in 2028 in LA, and then people will see just how boring it really is, and then everything will stop. Kind of like turning off a water faucet.
Yeah,
necessary anymore.
trust me, it's not going to be fun to watch. It just isn't. It's going to be really boring. It's just it's ice skating, and it's not as dangerous as ice skating. Ice skating, you can fall and break your head open, and flag football is really boring.
Just people running everywhere.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
Exactly. The strategy of it is stupid. Like everything about it is dumb.
There are going to be people trying to analyze it, and they ran a really crisp route there. He's, come on.
I mean,
Stop it.
I assist and coach teams, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Like the coach is in the dumb huddle, like with a playbook, and it's so stupid.
Yeah, that wide receiver's faster than the defensive back. There was
Yeah,
no
I know.
jamming at the line of
I
scrimmage.
know.
He ran past
I know,
him,
like these
so he was open.
These route trees and they don't practice, dude. Like, what are you doing? All right. Anyway, Mike Reese is going to join us as
Nice.
camp gets underway soon. We will talk to our good friend Mike Reese in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Contractors and essential workers, if your business vehicles are in need of an upfit, New England Van Truck Equipment in Woburn is open, and they're taking extra precautions to safely upfit your
Setcher and Hardy, and as we were talking about, the NFL is not a 365-day-a-year thing anymore. It's probably about a 350-day-a-year situation because there was a couple weeks there where there was nothing to talk about. But now camp gets underway. Johnny, when's it start again?
Wednesday, 11 a.m. Players report tomorrow.
Yeah, some camps have already started. Kansas City, I know, has started. I believe Green Bay has started. There are the teams that have started. Mike Reese is our good friend Johnny on the spot. He'll be with us. At one point was going to be Wallach on this show.
Mm-hmm.
And now Wallach could be leaving as well.
Where am I going?
I mean, if Grandy leaves, you would be the person, I suppose.
Well,
but who knows? Who knows? I mean, he did that big sobby, stupid sign off.
Okay.
I should hope he leaves.
That's right.
Walks off a cliff with that sign off. My God.
Okay.
Sounded like the ends of Terms of Endearment.
I love you, man.
Yeah, right? And then Max was like, I got to take a leak.
I got to go to the bathroom. Said Max.
So anyway, Mike Reese is the ESPN NFL Nation reporter covering the Patriots. He joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Mr. Reese, long time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Fred, Hardy, John. It's great to be back with you. Looking forward to getting down there on Wednesday and watching some football and seeing if they can get this thing turned around.
How much time do you have off in the offseason? Do you always have to be available to ESPN?
No, you get some time off. But what I usually do, Fred, is I usually take like a week in February because, that's like school vacation with the kids and the season is a grind. So I usually like to take more of a full week in February. And I usually just like take assorted days in the summer, but it's the demands are much less in the summer.
Okay.
All right. Now, Mike, I don't want to sell people a false bill of goods. You said you're excited to start watching some football on Wednesday. We're not going to see anything approaching football until when?
Like probably early next week when they put pads on. But it's still good, Hardy. I mean, you still get out there. They might do some competitive stuff, but no full pads, which is when the real football is.
Now, Belichick one time. And I'm not going to ask you to speak on Belichick because I'm not going to, or his relationship, which is very tawdry. Mm-hmm. But Belichick one time was such a dick to you that I wanted to fight him. The time where he's like, do you have that in your little thing? Like when he was doing that whole thing. Is there a part of you, what are your feelings on dealing with Mayo, Gerard Mayo now? It's going to be so much different. Are you having like what is that syndrome?
Helsinki syndrome.
Helsinki syndrome right now, like where you almost missed your captor. What's going on?
Stockholm.
Stockholm. I think it might be the Stockholm.
Well, I think I made the mistake they made in Die Hard, but whatever. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So are you going to miss the abuse? Like it's a totally different world for you covering the team.
So Fred, honestly, like that stuff with Belichick was never personal. So I never it never bothered me, and it was always cordial when the microphones weren't on. So sometimes that what it looks like publicly isn't always what it is, personally.
But why? Why? Can I ask you this? I don't mean to interrupt, but there was one. I don't want to play it because whatever. Yeah. But there was one time where he was really a dick to you. Like he was being like a total prick. Why? Do you have any idea why? Because you didn't do anything wrong or ask anything controversial. Like, did he ever explain to you why he was acting like that?
No.
Yeah. So behind the scenes, it's cordial, but there's that's one thing. But you can't. I mean, you're an adult. You're a professional. You're at the height of your profession. I don't know. It seems like that would. You're a bigger man than me because that would very much get to me, which is a compliment to you.
I appreciate it. But Fred, and now this is totally different. And it does remind me of actually when I started covering the Patriots, like my first year, 1997, when they went from Parcells to Pete Carroll. It's just so the culture, it's like a cultural shift here. And it's a lot different. And, ultimately it's going to come down to, winning games because that's what keeps a coach in his job. And so that's probably more where like my focus is. But I will say there is a part of you that asks a question. And when you get an actual answer, on something like injuries or contract stuff, when for years you had asked those questions and knew that you probably weren't getting an answer back from Bill Belichick. That's the part that's a little, that sort of hits you as a reporter as, incredibly different here.
All right, so Brandon Ayuk, it turns out that you tell me the Patriots made an offer. Tell me, you break it down for me. What is the Patriots' history with Ayuk, and you start with that.
Yeah, so my thing with this, it's hard for me as a reporter, is obviously they're interested, and when the other team clearly doesn't intend to trade him, or I shouldn't say clearly, reportedly doesn't intend to trade him, I always ask myself, how much time is this worth, discussing? Because I always look at it like you don't want to. People are listening. You don't want to give them hope that the Patriots are going to be able to acquire Brandon Ayuk when the team that has him has no incentive right now to trade him. This is their Super Bowl window, and they're a lesser team by trading him. So I sort of look at it that way, Fred. It's like, yeah, the Patriots can make an offer. But if the other team isn't willing to trade, I'm like, what are we doing here? And so that's sort of my mindset on it. Now, that can always change. And if that changes, maybe the discussion, we can shift it into a higher gear. But I think right now, the 49ers are holding on to him. Let's see, he's going to report to camp. Let's see if he holds in. If they can't get a deal with him, maybe their position changes. And then, to me, the conversation changes then.
I just saw something thrown out there by a football writer that maybe the 49ers would prefer to move on from Deebo Samuel than they would from Ayuk. If they did, do you think that the Patriots would be interested in Deebo Samuel, or is Ayuk a special talent, that he's special and that's why they're interested?
That's a good one, Fred. I think part of that would be what's the price? So to me, Ayuk, if they're going to trade him, it's got to be a first-round pick coming back to him. And if you're the Patriots, there's no way you're dealing your 2025 first-round pick, which, if we're being honest, guys, that could be a top pick.
Sure.
This is going to take a little time, in my view, for them to get this thing going. And so Samuel, if the price starts at a 2, well, now maybe that's a different conversation if you're the Patriots. And so, yeah, let's see what happens.
Mike, Elliott Wolf's in a tough spot. He said to you guys when he first took over that he wanted to weaponize the offense. He's tried. He talked to Calvin Ridley, got turned down. He's obviously approached San Francisco, got turned down. He's drafted a couple of wide receivers. He hasn't really weaponized the offense, but he's made an effort to.
Yeah, and I think so. Yeah, so John, where are we going with it? I mean, I think
what kind of grade would you give him? The effort has been there, but he's failed to do so.
So I think let's see what the Jalen Polk, the second-round pick out of Washington, looks like. Offensive line, to me, when you talk about weaponizing the offense, if you can't protect or run the ball, none of that other stuff matters. So I guess I look at it this way, John, you can't do everything in one off season. And if they show signs of progress and that it's going in the right direction, that you can run the ball, build off of play action, Drake May makes progress, that Alex Van Pelt, the offensive coordinator, is the right choice. To me, that is weaponizing the offense. So I guess I'm not willing to say that it's a failure because he didn't get Calvin Ridley or he couldn't trade for a 49ers receiver. I think he started the process. It's just hard to do it all in one off season.
Mike, when you get ready to watch these guys later this week and you're watching them next week when they start playing actual football and stuff, what do you think the competition is going to be like quarterback wise? What do you expect to see out there in terms of reps, first team, second team, stuff like that?
So Hardy, they're going to make Jacoby Brissett available to reporters tomorrow, which to me is pair that with what we saw in the spring.
Yep.
They're telling us he's our number one guy. So I would expect him to be the starter, getting the initial reps. And then I would expect it to be Drake May, based on what we saw at the end of the spring, getting a significant number of reps. And I will say this, guys, preseason football can be sort of a snooze fest for many. This year, I think it's a whole different deal. for the
sure.
Patriots
Yeah.
with Drake, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'd expect him to get a lot in the actual games, which to me is sort of makes it a little more exciting than maybe it normally would be for many. So that's how I would say. And then I think Bailey Zappi after that, Hardy, and then Joe Milton, and seeing how that looks between Zappi and Milton for, the 3 spot.
I had someone tried to tell me over the weekend, watch out for Joe Milton. He's got a cannon. He's going to make a real run at making this team.
Uh-huh.
I mean, is there any chance?
So I think he can make the team as the number 3 guy. And I think with the practice squad rules now, even if you had move on from him or Bailey Zappi, like we saw last year, didn't they go down to 1 quarterback last year after the cut down, and then they brought Zappi back on the practice squad?
Yeah, but that's Belichick doing Belichick things. Most normal executives would not do that.
But I think, the idea that he might not make the team, but he's on the practice squad. But yeah, I could see Milton on as the number 3 guy. In fact, we do, all us reporters do projections, and I did put Milton on as the 3rd guy, as a developmental type.
Another story surrounding the Patriots, the status of Matthew Judon and Devon Godchaux. Are both of them going to be on the field on Wednesday? And should we be worried that their contracts are the way they are?
I think it's good, John. I think let's start with Judon. My understanding is the sides are talking. So it's not like a situation where the team is saying, no, this is what it is. You either show up or else. I think I'm told they've discussed different scenarios as to how to resolve it. Obviously they haven't resolved it yet, but the fact usually in my experience, when sides are talking, that usually means there's a better chance that you can get a resolution. On the Godchaux one, I don't have as much intel on that one, so I don't know. I would expect both players are going to show up, because if you don't show up, you get fined. They're not going to want to lose money. The question would be, do they practice? Right? That's the new thing now, guys. Yeah. You don't hold out, you hold in.
Yeah, you show up, but you don't do anything.
Stephon Gilmore, perfect example.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's, John, you mentioned Elliott Wolf and being in a tough spot. I think that's the other part of this is their intentions have been true in terms of wanting to extend players, draft, develop. What we've seen, in my view, is when you do that, other players on the roster say, wait, whoa, this guy's getting this guy's getting this. And then they're sort of well, what about me? Right. And the Judon one's interesting to me in that I think when they redid his contract last year, it was sort of understood, we're going to come back to the table for your final year, but then he got hurt. Right. And so that adds a wrinkle that you weren't expecting. And then with Godchaux, I'm not sure if he would be having the stance he's having now if they didn't extend Barmore a year early. Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. And so those are, to me, those are the challenges if you're Elliott Wolf, how one contract always has, not always, but can have a trickle-down effect on how others view their own situation.
All right. Well, Mike Reese, have fun on Wednesday. We look forward to talking to you over the course of the season. Everyone loves Mike Reese. Thanks so much for the time.
All right. Always great being with you guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Right,
See you,
thank
Mike.
you, Mike. All right. It is funny that, he said Belichick's cordial behind the scenes. And I said, well, did he ever explain to you why he was such a dick? And he's like, nah.
Of course not. No.
But it was, Mike's got a job to do. All the people down there have a job to do, and I don't want to, and probably, couldn't do that job because you have to write every day, and there's stuff that, I'm glad that there's someone else there doing it. But the fact that Belichick chose to, just embarrass and try and belittle the people like Mike publicly, but then would act a different way privately, doesn't make it better in my mind.
No.
That makes it worse.
Years and years ago, we were out, speaking of beat reporters, we took a bunch of beat reporters or a few beat reporters out to dinner, and I asked them, how do you guys not want to go crazy with this year after year of the same thing? And John looked at me like I had 5 heads. He said, how dare you, John thought.
Did you think that was an insensitive and inappropriate question?
I honestly don't remember doing that.
Oh, no, I don't. I think that you just were laughing about it later. You thought it was a little inappropriate. But what do you know? I was asking the real questions. All right, we'll be back. Here are the headlines.
tried to take the broken elevator back up and then got stuck in the elevator.
He did reference it in the last break.
Well, he said that the elevator was broken. Then he started taking the stairs down.
Oh.
No, here he comes.
Here he is. Yeah, no broken elevator.
Fred's stuck in an elevator. Not too long ago would have been absolute disaster. Now, I still think it would be a real problem. But
I think he's in a good headspace. You'd be able to overcome it, right, Fred? You'd be able to overcome getting stuck in an elevator better now, right?
Fine.
Guess you didn't know the elevators were broken.
Okay.
The building.
Oh, the blue shirts?
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, and then I'm late because he started explaining to me what was going on, and I finally had to say, dude, I got to go back on the air. Yeah.
What is your anxiety level when I say to you, stuck in an elevator?
Well, you know, the one story of me being stuck in an elevator was at University of Michigan baseball camp, and there were, you have to apologize, I woke up 5 floors.
Okay, is this when somebody was having some hijinks and they were trying to open the doors in between floors?
They were jumping up and down, kicking around, and I didn't like it. And then finally, the elevator stopped. And so I just hauled off and hit the kid in the face.
Oh, I
got so pissed off.
Yes.
And then I freaked out and pulled the doors open. And like an idiot, there was enough room to like crawl out the top.
Oh, yeah, that's what. And if the elevator started going again, you would have been cut in half.
I would have been killed.
Yeah.
But I freaked out so bad, I balled my fist and seriously just like ripped the kid in the face. Wow. And he was like, "What the hell?" Because I didn't like knock him out.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "What the hell?" I know, kind of puss. And he's like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, "Shut up, shut up." So you hit me, and I'm like, "Yeah, you dumbass!" And like you're running around. And someone emailed me, and they were like, "You talk about University of Michigan baseball camp. I went to that too, and there were all these other camps there, and there were no rules." And he's absolutely
like Lord
right.
of the Flies.
There was a talent show where the cheerleading girls, like there was a group, I still remember it. I was probably in freshman year, 8th grade. And these girls did that Mercedes Boy song by, if you want to ride my Mercedes Boy, there are so many things that I'm going to do to you. And it was like the most overtly sexual thing I'd ever seen girls my age do.
And you were 15, you said?
Probably 14, 15. And like you could take girls to your room.
Yeah.
Like there was like, I think there was an RA, but the kid was probably like a junior in high school. Like you could take girls to your room. So anyway, it was anarchy. So if I got stuck in an elevator, I would not do well. And nor would anyone. Would anyone be totally cool being stuck in an elevator? You guys would be just fine about it?
No, there are people that handle it better than others, but no one. It's not pleasant for anybody.
I mean, I don't think anyone's gonna like start banging their head against the wall. I mean, I would probably be filled with anxiety and wanting to get out of it. But I mean, I don't think that I would kill myself. I mean, I wouldn't be able to. There'd be nothing for me to kill myself with, which would be a problem. So I don't.
Could I have a book with me?
Well, no, because if you got stuck at work, you would have gone down with nothing. You'd have maybe your phone.
But not great service in there. So, I mean, whatever you have loaded on your phone.
The better question is not would you freak out if the elevator got stuck. The better question is who wouldn't freak out if the elevator got stuck. I mean, is there anyone who wants to be stuck in a box with no way to get out and no idea, and it's up to those 2 blue shirts to get you out of it?
My gut tells me intern Isaac would be okay with it. There's just something about his demeanor and something
Isaac, come in here, intern Isaac.
That's a good idea.
Could intern Isaac come in here? Can he hear us?
You should have seen the look on his face. He's like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah.
I just want to hear those dulcet
You're calling
tones.
me in here. I don't want to deal with these guys.
Here comes intern Isaac, one of my Hofstra kids who I've lifted up. I took from
Nick's good. He's to be grateful. Nick walking in here with him. I come in here with a better attitude. You know what I'm saying? Don't wander in here like it's the death penalty. All right?
Don't listen to him, intern Isaac. You focus on the king. You focus on who got you here, intern Isaac. Would you now? Hardy says you wouldn't care if you got stuck in an elevator.
I would care.
Yeah. Of course you would. You're a human being. We're meant to be roaming free, not locked in boxes.
How much would you care though? Does it freak you out to think about it?
On a scale of 1 to 10, where would your freak out be?
6, maybe.
That surprises me.
All right, what wouldn't be as bad as being what would be worse than being stuck in an elevator? Of like things that aren't going to hurt you that could happen to you during a course of a day. What would be worse than getting stuck in an elevator?
I would rather be stuck alone in an elevator than stuck on an airplane on one of those like tarmac situations for 8 hours.
That's much worse.
No, it's not. I'll tell you why.
Oh, yeah.
Because there conceivably is a way to get out of it. Like they could open the door to the plane. It's not like the door is stuck. They could open the door to the plane.
You don't think I could get myself out of that elevator if I really had to?
I'm going to ask you, in all seriousness, if you're not being sarcastic, how would you get yourself out? And I'm interested. I'm not challenging you. Like how?
Okay, so this is like an emergency situation.
You're in the elevator. You got to get out. How do you get out?
There's a railing in there. You climb up on that railing. You push the ceiling panel.
So that
open.
does work. The ceiling panel does open.
It works in the movies.
Yeah. See, I'm not positive that. Yeah. You're being cute, guys.
Jason Bourne.
You don't know that you could do that. Shut up, John.
I bet there is. There has to be like a safety hatch in an elevator
on the top.
Yes.
Jim Murray's dad worked on elevators. He was the guy that you would call. And Jim, when he talks about it on the air, doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in the guys whose job it is. He's like his dad would get a call and be like, oh, and then keep watching whatever he was watching. So that didn't inspire a lot of confidence either.
You know what? Hold on. I know a guy who used to own an elevator company. I'm going to ask him right now.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Hannon's brother.
Mark Hannon's brother? Boy,
Yeah.
you know Mark Hannon very well.
That's pretty impressive.
That could come in handy in a few years.
I don't know if there's a hatch out there or not, but the
Just
tarmac,
have him make a phony offer to get Beasley to give us
the
something.
tarmac thing is. I 100% agree with Hardy being stuck on a plane.
But you could get
on a
off of
tarmac.
it. I'll tell you why.
But they never let you off.
But my thing is that there's an option of getting you out. With an elevator, you're in the people that could get you off the plane are on the plane. Like for instance, if you were stuck on the tarmac for 8 hours and someone had a heart attack and they were dying, they would let that guy off the plane.
Mm-hmm.
If you were in an elevator in a building like at this time of day and stuck in it and you had a heart attack, they might rush more, but there's no way to get you out of it right away. And I bet you would be a big production to get someone out of an elevator that was having a heart attack. Get you out of that airplane. They have emergency crews. You're on the ground. Like there couldn't be more people around. There's like 1 billion people that could get you off. It's their decision not to let you off. And by the way, you can sue them after because it has happened. Go ahead.
Which is worse for you, being stuck in an elevator or being stuck in a tunnel?
An elevator because you can walk out of the tunnel. Like you could walk out. Like you could walk out.
That
that
surprises me.
Me
'Cause
too.
You're a
Me
big
too.
I don't like
tunnel
either.
fear.
I would have thought tunnel would have been way worse for him.
Again, this is something that I contend that I've just expressed. Like, I don't think anyone likes being in a tunnel, or certainly stuck in a tunnel, like in traffic in a tunnel. That's 100 times worse than being stuck on a regular road.
I've told you, I have practically zero thought about driving through tunnels. Doesn't bother me. Driving over bridges, tall bridges, the bridge that the Sagamore, the Bourne, either one, not my favorite.
Yeah, like anything that is not natural that you're not used to, I would imagine would give you a tiny bit of anxiety.
But the tunnel thing really doesn't.
Okay,
I
well,
don't
yeah,
think about
but if you were stuck in, would you rather be? This is really going nowhere. But would you rather be stuck on a road?
It's going everywhere. This is everything. Don't you?
No, I'm blaming myself, not you. If you were, would you rather be stuck on a road or stuck in a tunnel? Like just stuck on a regular road or stuck in a tunnel?
How do you get stuck on a road?
In traffic on the freeway, it's bumper to bumper.
No,
or stuck in a
I'd rather
tunnel.
be stuck on the road.
Yeah, see? So there is
Would
a
you
tunnel.
rather fight 100 horse-sized?
All right, we will be back. There's phone calls, and I have to take them.
Would you rather fight Wallach?
I'd kill Wallach, so I'd rather fight whatever else. So I didn't have a murder case on my hands.
Thank you, Isaac.
Isaac, you did a good job.
Well done.
Thank you.
Just my advice to you: focus on the guy I'm pointing at, me. That is a road to disappointment. Here is a road to riches. All right, Isaac, get out of here now and answer the phones, you crazy son of a bitch. You wild man, you. Isaac. If you saw him on YouTube, ladies, he's available. He's single. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Cats up. He doesn't look like Jesus. In fact, he's overweight with short hair. And a mustache. Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Watch us on YouTube. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. 617-779-0985. The guys, the elevators are down here at the station. I need my DPs. So I walked, and I got a little, I thought you could take the stairs out here all the way down. So the guys thought I might be stuck in an elevator. They said, would you mind being stuck in an elevator? I think you'd freak out. And the answer is yes, and so would you. Who wouldn't? The better question is, who wouldn't freak out in an elevator? And I said, and then you said that you would rather be stuck in an elevator than stuck on a plane on a tarmac. And to that, I said, what if you had a heart attack on the plane and the tarmac, they're getting you off the plane. You have a heart attack in an elevator, anything goes. Look no further than Jim Murray's stories of his father, who was like an elevator guy. Again, like apparently people would call Jim's dad and he would be like, okay, and then like sit down and just start watching TV again while someone sat in an elevator. Sam, go ahead.
I'd like to think the elevator is a very anxiety-ridden thing. My wife doesn't like riding in elevators where I really don't care. But this is to Hardy. Like, I understand the hatch, the safety hatch, but I don't think that's a really good idea. Hence, if you look at Emilio Estevez in the first Mission Impossible movie, he really eats it in the elevator scene in that movie.
Yeah. It goes poorly for him, and my elevator expert has gotten back to me. He said, most passenger elevators do have hatches, but they are locked, bolted from the outside.
Oh, yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah. That's what not bolted from the outside, but I figured you couldn't open them because then that would just invite people to do dumb stuff. Yeah. And that is actually what I thought. Don't you come back at me. I thought that. Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, so there's the hatch on top, but so I'm a firefighter, so if we have to get someone out of an elevator, we can. If you look at elevators, you see a little circle hole on the outside door. That puts a special key in that you can tap the door open and open up the outer door, and then you open up the inner door. If it's in between levels, you can use a pole, like a pike pole, like one of our tools, and from a floor above, tap the door open, and then get it open from floors above. And then if we have to, again, we can actually move the elevator up and down if it's a hydraulic elevator from the machine room. Okay. So if you're stuck in an elevator and you're having a medical emergency, 5-10 minutes, you're out.
Yeah, but you got to get there, have the tools, get everything done, like from call to time you get there and get the person out, because then you got to get in the elevator and get them out. How long is that, would you say? And I'm not doubting you guys are the best. You're doing the best job. Best case scenario, how long does it take?
Average response time is probably under 10 minutes from when you call to when we get there. So call it 15 minutes, maybe 20, you're out.
Okay.
How do you get yourself out of an elevator? Yeah, they figure there's no one's coming. How are you getting yourself out?
You're going to try to get the doors open from the inside if you had to, but you just hope that they're not in between floors. More often than not, the elevator does not stop in between floors. It usually is somewhat close to the floor and just locked up.
Okay.
So.
I like that answer. All right, good. All right, thank you.
All right, have a good day.
All right, it's very good. It is true. It is true that you are screwed in an elevator. On an airplane, they get you right off of that thing. You know what I'm saying? You understand where I'm coming from?
I did. This is the predicated on the heart attack thing. It's all about the heart attack with you. What are the odds that you're going to have a heart attack in an elevator or on an airplane?
Not good, probably, hopefully. But I will tell you this. But that goes into the claustrophobic thing. Is that if your goal is to get out of the thing, I was just making it that in other situations they could get you out. They just choose not to. In an elevator, it is what it is. 20 minutes. Best case scenario is 20 minutes. And that's if you're having a heart attack. So I guess what you should do if you're on stuck in an elevator, so you're having a heart attack.
You know, I've heard lots of stories of people stuck on an airplane for 5, 6, 10 hours.
But they could get you off.
But they don't.
That's the point.
Right, I know, but
never do.
No, but they could if you had to. And that's the thing, is that if they could if you had to. And you can sue the airline. They have
I'm not thinking about the lawsuit. I'm just thinking about the number of stories I've heard about people stuck in an elevator for hours. I've never heard one.
Oh, sure. Hamilton was stuck in an elevator in the Sirius building for hours. Our friend Hamilton.
Mark Hamilton?
Mark Hamilton was stuck in the Sirius XM New York elevator for several hours. Yeah, it's no good. Matt, but his pictures of it are all like him being calm. It was him and another guy, like they're all being like calm, playing dice.
I'm sure he had assistance.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I always have big pocket full of pills. I'm going to a big meeting.
Hammy's not going anywhere without some accessories.
Yeah, if you gave me like a bottle of Xanax, yeah, like I could handle it. I still wouldn't like it, but I could handle it. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, I had two different experiences. One was in college, so this was probably 25 years ago, and I was stuck in an elevator for probably 2 to 3 hours, to the point where the people on the dorm floor were like giving me magazines through the slit in the door.
Yep.
And I was literally just sitting there reading magazines. I mean, it was awful. And the second experience was at work in Cambridge, where it was just like the first responder said, 10 to 15 minutes, I rang the alarm, they were there, I was probably out 15, 20 minutes done.
Okay. But you were in a dorm elevator, and did they ever tell you why it took you so long to get you out of there?
No, it was a Sunday, so I guess the guy was like off the clock. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing is there's a clock with that. At an airport, there's no clock. You know what I'm saying? Like at an airport, there's people around. And there is a passenger bill of rights. I don't think they can keep you on the tarmac that long anymore. I'm sure they have, and I'm sure you could look it up, and they have. But there is compensation for it that I think goes beyond half off your next flight.
I don't know what it is. What is the rule? I mean, once you get out there, they have to keep you out there?
You are aware of the passenger bill of rights, though, right?
I am aware of that.
Yeah,
yes.
like they did something like Congress passed something.
I don't know
for once
what the what the specifics are, but
go ahead.
No,
keep it up. You got to roll with that, baby.
I understand. I let it go. No,
go ahead.
But once you get out there, isn't there a rule for some reason that the airlines have to keep you out there once the plane has left the gate?
Once you've left the gate, and there's the gate isn't available, and it's like you're in the queue and all this crap. Yeah,
find a different gate. Bring the thing back in. What difference does it make?
I told you my dad's friend was on a flight from Detroit to Japan. It landed in Japan, and then something happened. It was from Japan to Detroit, and then they landed and it had been snowing, and they had just flown across the world, and they got stuck on the tarmac for some ungodly amount of time. But the news came out and everything, and people were calling from the plane like into the news, and the guy got all this money, it was Northwest, which isn't even an airline anymore. No joke. Dan, go ahead.
Hi, guys. You lived in an...
Oh, boy. Oh, that's not working. You're probably in an elevator now. Dan, go ahead.
Hey, I do have some advice. I don't know if this is just a college thing, but we got stuck in an elevator, me and a bunch of dudes, and we hit the button, the alarm, they respond back, fire department, and they ask how many men and women are on the elevator. I don't know why. That doesn't really, it's not good to think that they think college kids are that, terrible people.
Like rapey?
But the guy goes, yeah. So the guy goes, 1 woman and 5 guys. And they were there in about 5 minutes. So I don't know if that helps. If you're by yourself, just say there's, innocent woman, and a bunch of drunk dudes on an elevator. I don't know. That's what he did, and it worked. It was amazing.
Well, if my daughter was on an elevator with 5 guys and stuck in it, I went her ass out of there, too. Yeah. So I don't trust 5 guys. I trust 1. I trust 2. 5 guys I don't trust.
Yeah, so it's just me and a couple of my buddies and seashell necklaces. We're going to a golden tea tournament, and we're in here with a girl. No big whoop. Yeah, they'll be...
Right, exactly. We got plenty of Jello shots to sustain us.
Oh God, get over there!
Or maybe they're asking if you are the last people on the planet, if you could continue the species. Is why they want to know if there's an even number of men and women. So you guys could start like a little society.
Yes, yes.
I mean, it would get inbred real quick, but 5 men, 5 women.
There's gonna be a few hiccups over the first couple of generations, but you gotta roll with it like anything else.
Roll with it, baby. That's a great song. That was a song that was a hit.
I celebrate his entire catalog.
If life is too much, roll with it, baby.
Lil Stevie Winwood.
He was in Traffic, if I'm not mistaken. He's in the band Traffic.
Had Shaka Khan sing backup on that Higher Love song. You knew what he was doing.
Higher Love's a decent song.
Higher Love's a real good song.
Roll with it is not.
Not so much.
But MTV, you give them enough money, they would have played anything back then. Sure, we'll roll with it, baby. Why not? If life is too much, give MTV a bunch of money. They'll play your song.
They played Al Jarreau. Does anyone want to go walking in the garden?
Dude, they played Manhattan Transfer. Which is an a cappella.
I love coffee. I love tea.
I mean, Manhattan Transfer.
Retire the trophy with that. They played Manhattan Transfer on MTV.
Yeah, and I remember the song too.
Stuff my parents.
What was the song? What was the Manhattan Transfer song?
Okay, some food like. I'll think of it during the break. I definitely will because it's in my head. Because it was one of those things, again, when I was a kid, I went, what's going on? Like, why are these, like, dorky, like, old a cappella singers singing, like, on MTV? And I even knew something was fishy. When I was, like, 10 years old, I was like, something's going on. These guys are getting played, and it ain't because they're good. Something happened. All right, I'll find it. I'll have it. Don't worry, everybody. I'll have it when we get back. Everyone hold on to your hats. I'll figure it out. All right.
Are we going to revisit our flying machine guy?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that next.
Why not? There's nothing going on with sports. We'll do that in just a moment.
More.
This isn't the video. The city that I remember was Manhattan transferred soul food to go. I mean, this is garbage. And it was 1987, so I was 12. And I do remember going, something fishy's going on. Like, this is not being played because the audience of MTV wants to see it. Like, 87, it was hair metal. Rap was starting to gain some popularity. There's a line in the Soul Food to Go song in the chorus that is, hip hop never stop.
Right.
And it's like, no, you don't get to do that. All right. Well, we caused a lot of problems, Hardy, on Friday because there was a YouTuber who was filming himself on a flying machine.
Yes.
And he crashed. And when he crashed, he asked his phone to call 911, but he did it in a way that made other people's phones call 911. I got several emails that people had their phones call 911, which probably isn't the best thing in the world.
So as a means to thwart that, we are going to replay the audio with the guy asking his phone to call 911. That's been edited out.
Oh, beautiful.
But what we've included this time is his conversation with the 911 operator. So a little bit of expanded. And then I did the deep dive on one Mr. Anthony Vella and found out a few more things about him.
And this is delightful because there are YouTubers like Mr. Beast that deserve everything they get. They're investing in the product. They're coming up with creative ideas. They're just delivering it in a non-conventional method. And then there are people, everyone else on YouTube, that just seems to film themselves doing stuff. And so this guy was filming himself out of pride and ego. He was doing it just to celebrate himself. And the fact that this happened makes everything worthwhile. So I hope he's happy with the views. Am I playing this or are you?
You are playing this.
48 miles per hour. Come on, baby. Oh.
That motor dying is just a symphony to me.
Well, it is. He explains a little bit later in another video that there was something with one of the lines going up to the canopy.
God.
Now, this is, I mean, it's a box fan strapped to a backpack, and he's got a big kite hanging over him. You know, like I wouldn't even call it a parachute. It's more like a parasail.
I know what he's doing. Yeah, I've seen it before.
Yeah,
I've never even seen the video this is, but I know what he's doing.
Did you see guys flying around in ultralights when you were a little kid?
No, but I know what those are.
Yeah, there were a few of them around and I was in a little bit more rural area than you were. But there were guys up there in their homemade, ultralights. And this guy is, I don't know where he got his paramotor, but it looks awfully rigged together.
Okay, so I had this friend and then I'll get back to the clip, named James Miscellaneous. And he got really into skydiving. Like, he started skydiving all the time. And one time he goes to me, he's like, my friend died. Died skydiving. And I went, oh my God, that's so terrible. I feel so bad for you.
Yeah.
And then he came up to me another time. He goes, I got another friend died skydiving. And I went, James, stop skydiving then.
Yes.
Because the whole reason you're doing this is because there's a possibility of dying or it wouldn't be exciting to you.
Correct.
And that's why you're going around telling every girl and getting a tattoo on your back that says you're a skydiver, which is not a good tattoo to have. Like, and girls aren't even going to see that. And are
At
you
least
going to
get it on your arm, on your forearm?
I'm not positive that's something that gets you laid. Like, if you're on a dating site, if it is, I'll go do it.
Yeah, I'll try it.
But if you're on a dating site and it's you jumping out of an airplane, I think I'd be like, ugh. All right, I get it. All right, here we go.
28 miles per hour. Come on, baby.
And that's before he crashed, right?
That is the crash.
Okay, that is the crash.
All right.
So, again, I'm watching the video and seeing it. The motor is still running after he crashes.
That's too bad.
That's almost a Wile E. Coyote style. That'd been funny.
That Acme fan didn't turn on.
Exactly.
The fact that it keeps running on the ground, yeah, it's poetic.
It is nice. I'm filming myself. Hooray! Nah, it's so fast, dumbass. That thing's not built for flying very long.
It'll just always be funny to me. Every single time I.
911. Call 911.
See, we made it better for you.
Yeah.
It's not going to do it on your phone now.
Yeah.
Emergency.
This is like Nick walking up a flight of stairs.
Maybe it's like Jim Murray's dad. You get a call and you're just like, oh, that's too bad. And then you sit there for a while. What happened? How did he get that way? And then you wait a little bit.
Let's do hold on.
Yeah.
Back that up. Let's do the Nick walk. Let's see if that's what it actually sounds like here.
Emergency.
Nick, you're the one who came closest to this kind of injury. Did you scream and yell when your now wife found you covered in your own feces? Just thumbs up or thumbs down. Were you screaming? He doesn't know.
He doesn't.
Did you ever ask what you were like? Did you ever have curiosity about the incident? Probably not, huh? Not a lot of introspection from that, Nicholas.
What did it sound like when it was all released at the moment of release?
I crashed my flying machine.
Crashed my flying machine.
Well, I mean, when Nick passed out, he just had a tremendous amount of cheese. So. All right, calm down, pussy.
You did what?
Like, there's dudes
Nice job,
like
dumbass.
Joe Theismann. I don't think he was carrying on
He
like
sounds
this.
like Mac Jones when he sprained his ankle.
Oh, yeah. Hopping off the field. Ah!
Keep it together. You're a man.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, my gosh. At least he didn't take the Lord's name in vain. You
Yeah.
know he's in a lot of pain. If you can make yourself not swear, you cannot carry on like
that
this.
kind of pain, usually you pass out. At least for a second.
Again, I said that before. I've broken my leg and sat there, and it hurt so bad that I started throwing up. But I had it together. I was at a skate park. I had it together not to scream and yell like this.
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's like, he really had the wind knocked out of him in addition to breaking stuff. But that's kind of the initial.
Yeah, you got to calm down at a certain point.
But after, 10 seconds or so, you get your breath back.
And he called 911 like right away, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you got that messed up, wouldn't you be like in a heap? Dumb phone. Everyone with their phone.
Oh my gosh.
All right, calm down.
911 emergency.
Help me, please. I crashed my flying machine.
If you're the other person, how do you not explode into laughter?
I wonder if they went.
What?
And where's Dr. Seuss?
I crashed my flying machine.
Seriously, like, are you, where are your green eggs and ham? Oh, the places you'll go. That's not, flying machine.
Sweet dreams and flying machine in cases on the ground.
He's around. You can catch James out in the pound.
911 emergency.
Help me, please. I crashed my flying machine.
Okay, where are you at? So do you know where you're at?
I'm in Enchanted Hills. I'm in the desert.
Oh, now if I'm the 911 operator, I'm hanging up. Not so fast, buddy boy. Don't speak to me like that.
Okay, are you in Texas?
Yes, I'm by Abundant Living in the desert, just to the east.
Okay, what was it that you crashed?
A paramotor. Please.
Yeah, do you read South Curses? Let me get you transferred real quick. Give me 1 second, okay?
Okay, please.
Do not hang up.
All right,
You
so
probably called the wrong state's 911, but we'll get you transferred. Hold on.
I mean, Siri doesn't know everything. What ended up happening to this guy? What were the injuries, Hardy?
They were loading me into the CAT scan machine. And when I came out, I remember, the first doctor coming out and letting Leandra and I know that they probably would not be able to save my right arm. After that, the doctor went a little bit further and said, aside from his right arm, he's also got a broken neck, broken back. I had broken my cervical spine, my thoracic spine, my lumbar spine, my coccyx, my pelvis in 3 different places.
Your what?
the coccyx.
So what's the deal now? Was he in traction for a very long time, or
so
what
he's in
happened?
the hospital for a very long time, and he said at some point he saw the image of his friend who had, wait for it, died on the same field in a similar contraption, and his friend came to him in a vision and said, "It's not your time to go." So this jackass was up in his...
I crashed my flying machine.
And it
sounds a lot like Corey Feldman there, I suppose, when you get hurt.
Like your buddy, the parachuter, right?
Yeah.
A friend of his had died, same place, same type of machine. He saw a vision of him saying, "It's not your time to go," but instead they loaded him into the ambulance. They found a piece of his elbow on the ground, which they packed up and put in the ambulance with him, and then sent him off.
Well, did they lose his arm? Because when they say you're going to lose your arm, I take it they didn't take his arm.
They did not take his arm.
Yeah.
The video where I saw, he has got the whole halo thing, he's got the whole arm brace thing, and it's all a result of, you know, this whole...
Flying machine.
Call 911.
But you know,
wouldn't that be a disappointment? Like if you're about to die, and the person that comes to you is like your friend.
That's right.
Your
Your whole
wanna
life's
see
supposed to pass in front of you, and you get visited by.
And I wouldn't want anyone on the mortal plane. I'd want something that like I couldn't even conceive of.
Yeah.
You know, like that whole warm light is much more reassuring.
But he was telling
than
me
your dumb friend coming up to you and going, "It's not your time." Well, isn't there anyone more qualified than you to tell me it's not my time?
But
I want a warm, soothing, like ethereal, like feeling of comfort. And here I am going to another dimension.
At the
I
very
don't want my dopey friend that crashed a flying machine
God
before me.
punishing you for being a dumbass and getting you in that situation to begin with.
At the very least, one of my first couple of dogs, you know, have him be there and kind of, you know, panting.
Yeah, I want to leave the mortal realm behind. I don't want old friends talking to me. I want to zoom into something else.
Impossible, though, to hear this guy grunting and wheezing and not think of this woman.
These buckets are filled with grapes. What kind of grapes? These are filled with Chamberson grapes, and the winner this Saturday, who's studying music, eating international foods, having wine tours and tastings, vineyard tours, seminars, arts and crafts. It's a lot of fun, a whole day. Stop. Oh, stop. I can't. Oh, stop. I can't breathe. Stop. Oh, no. Oh,
boy,
dear.
I think she's actually hurt.
No, I think she is.
So I was in Atlanta when that happened. It was on the morning television, and they were stomping grapes at this place north of the city. And it was on one of the TVs in the background. And I obviously, like these TVs, right?
Right.
And a kid on our show was like, "Oh, boy, this woman just fell." He was in another room, and it was glorious.
Yeah.
It was the greatest thing ever because she barely fell. Like, she fell probably 3 feet. And I mean, her reaction was so unwarranted. Like, it was just, and then those dumb anchors, like, oh. They like flash back to the studio and they're like, "Oh, it seems like she's hurt." Oh, is that what it seems like? I bet you that lady got a bruise. I bet you that.
I don't even know if she got that. I think she got the wind knocked out of her. The end.
Ow, ow, ow. Like, your pride is worth way more than, like, you got to suck it up at that point.
So who's the winner out of those two, Fred? Don't decide yet. Let's have a duel.
I can't breathe.
Oh my gosh.
Ow, stop. Oh, stop.
Emergency.
Oh, stop.
I'm going to call that a draw. And the thing is that the guy who released that video is probably thinking, yeah, people are going to think I'm a badass. No, because that could happen to any of us. Any of us could break every bone in our body. If you would have been like a badass and been like, call 911 and been like, my flying machine just ate it.
Or your helicopter, but it's
I crashed my flying machine.
If you were like my jet fighter, I just had to like eject from my jet fighter.
Yeah.
And I'm stuck in a tree. Or like, my submarine exploded and I just flew out of the ocean.
Sweet dreams and flying machine. In pieces on the ground.
Oh, man. When that lady fell out of that bucket, that was so awesome.
It's so helpless.
Shut up.
So helpless.
I know. Just shut up, lady. Get it together. You're on TV.
Well, speedy recovery, Anthony Vella. This happened back in April. So
You do whatever you want.
Still on the mend, I'm sure.
Yeah, right. Matt, go ahead.
Good morning, boys. That guy sounds exactly like Connor O'Malley from I Think You Should Leave. Episode 4, season 1, Traffic, the honk if you're horny.
He was so horny. Yep, that's the sound of a man. Do you have it? That is the sound of a man that is...
I thought you had magazines or calendars or something.
I think we're getting it up here.
And then he did have porn in it, as a matter of fact.
Okay. Are you in
I can't find him screaming. But that does. It sounds exactly like Connor O'Malley in I Think You Should Leave.
Okay, where are you? Okay, where?
I'm so horny. Oh, Nick. That's got to bring back memories. He's a big thumbs up guy today, Nick. Not so much with the even turning around in the chair. Yeah, he's staring at a blank computer, to my knowledge.
An object at rest tends to stay at rest. He starts swiveling that
like
chair.
He's really like staring like at a computer that just had its like the home screen on
It was just his like sign-on icon. I think he's a mouse. I think he's got a little mouse.
I think he's a putty type that he could just get on an airplane and just stare at the seat in front of him and be perfectly content.
He's looking at his little mouse
No,
icon.
now he's working on something because I said something. But look, that mouse thing's back up because he's been so inactive on it.
You need one of those programs that moves your mouse for you.
That's what's up there.
Every 30
That's what's up
seconds.
there. That's what that mouse is. It's the virtual mouse.
Is it?
Yes, that's exactly what that is. All right, Nicholas, you hang in there, buddy. You're not covered in poo anymore. They cleaned you off and hosed you down. Now you're ready to go. You keep that thumb up. Very good. Thank you very much. We'll be back in just a moment. The show, you would think that John was a big subscriber to, but Lockhart and I are the only two people on the show who've had a subscription to Baseball in America, which is the nerdiest of all baseball publications. It comes on newsprint, and it focuses heavily on farm systems. So if you're wondering, if the Red Sox are in the market, and after getting swept by the Dodgers, we'll see. And Houston is very, very good. Houston's winning their division right now.
Do you think that being swept by the Dodgers has changed upper management's mind, just these 3 games?
No. Because I don't think they were going to make a major move anyway, but it doesn't help. But it doesn't help. It's not even about them making a move so much as it is just about like the season being fun. Because the Mariners are imploding. But in Kansas City and Minnesota aren't exactly like world beaters. Kansas City's a pretty young team. They might be a year away, and you're not catching Yankees and Orioles. I don't care. The Yankees are going to get that kid from the White Sox.
Crochet.
Yeah. So they're gonna do what they have to do to make the playoffs.
The mandate's different.
They don't have.
They win at all costs, or try to win at all costs every year.
Well, certainly this year because you gave up all that for Soto, and you don't know if you're going to have Soto next year, because you don't know if Cohen from the Mets is just going to offer him a crazy amount of money. Soto has Boris, and Boris won't let Soto sign during the season. He doesn't let his guys sign during the season. He makes them go to free agency. So. This might be the year you have Judge and Soto, the year. I mean, a very big possibility. Yeah. Soto's not going to take a discount to stay with the Yankees. I think he said as much. So if the Yankees are going to make a big move, and Baltimore's too good, you're not in the same ballpark as those two teams.
No, especially in the Yankees just got Garrett Cole back, and he pitched well over the weekend, so you hope you get more from him. Yeah, I mean, that's it. But more to your point for the Red Sox, it's found money.
And also, there's very few teams that you can deal with, and I'm not sure the Blue Jays are going to make much of a move with you because they're one of the few teams. There's what? Would you throw Texas into it? Because if you don't throw Texas into it, there's 4 teams in the American League and really 2 teams in the National League.
Yeah, it's
that
a
are going to
handful.
deal.
Oh no, there aren't a lot.
You got 6 or 7 Major League Baseball teams that are going to be get rid of anything of value, and that's not an ideal situation. If you're the Red Sox.
Let's see. Miami, and that's the thing. The Sox play a bad Colorado team tonight. So Miami, Colorado, the White Sox, Oakland, the Angels, although I don't know how much the Angels really have to deal. That's it. Toronto, maybe?
No, Toronto would deal. They have to. Toronto's got to do something because they're underachieving so much. They might move Vlad Guerrero Jr. They might make an actual move, but I don't think they'd make that move with the Red Sox, and I also don't think the Red Sox are in the market for giving up a bunch of their prospects because then they would have to pay Guerrero. I'd rather have Guerrero than any of their prospects. There's really not a prospect that they have that I would say, oh, that's not as good as Vlad Guerrero. That's better than Vlad Guerrero Jr. But they would look at it as like we have team control of the kid and da-da-da.
The move that I keep reading about, and it's easy if you take a look at it, Justin Turner back to the Red Sox.
That will change everything.
No, it's not going to change anything. But
is that a right-handed
bat?
Bat?
It's a right-handed bat to balance out the lineup.
Well, there you go. Have fun with Justin Turner, and it's not a bad move. It's just that I don't think them getting swept by the Dodgers, But it's just as a fan of the team. If you're a fan of the team, that kind of sucks because you don't get swept. You're still tied in the wild card race and so on and so forth. It showed that your bullpen is a little shaky.
Yeah.
And that was what they were saying, at least nationally after the game, is that if they were going to make, Perez was saying, if they were going to make a move, they could make a bullpen move. And then maybe that's just because he was looking at what was right in front of him. Jansen, blew a save, and then they gave up a late inning lead in the first game of the series.
Jansen's been so good. I think that was only his second blown save of the year.
No, you don't need a closer. What I'm just saying is that the bullpen blew up 2 of those games.
Chris Martin, who was a borderline all-star last year, has been hurt, and he's dealt with some mental issues this year, too. He's missed a lot of time, and it's killed him in situations like this.
Yeah, so they could get bullpen help, but there's going to be a lot of competition. A lot of competition for that help.
And the other thing is, if you're the Red Sox, you don't want to do anything, I guess, because your top prospects are now very close. Marcelo Mayer, we were talking about him last year and how he was struggling. He's not struggling this year. And Kyle Teal, the catcher, he seems like he's ready. You have 2, 3, 4 guys that are right on the doorstep here.
But we can talk about redundancy in the system. When we talk to our friend from Baseball America, which I had a subscription to, and John Wallach did not.
I do not.
My father used to get it as well, and I have no idea why my father got it, but he did. I saw a guy at the gym real quick. He was in front of me. In the shower, I was standing real close to him. No, he was on a treadmill, and I didn't know how long he'd been running for, but a real long time, and he had burned like 1,200 calories because that's what the part of the screen I could see. Because there were people like coming up and talking to him and stuff. But if you're running on a treadmill, all I could see was the amount of calories in the elevation, and you're running at 0 elevation. Is that even running? Isn't that just picking up your feet? Like, if there's no grade of it, like if there's no resistance, if you're just running on a flat, moving surface, because, like, there's no undulation, there's no anything, is that considered running? Interesting, isn't it, Jonathan?
Sure.
Party?
Sure, it's considered running.
617-779-0998. I don't think that's considered running. I think that's picking up your feet. Because, okay, let's put it this way.
Okay.
If you ran out, what is how much easier is it to run on 0 elevation on a treadmill than it is to run outside?
It's a lot easier.
Yeah, so I don't even know if that's running. It's so much as it's just picking up your feet and moving your legs. Like, you're not pushing off. Like, there's no resistance.
You have to run faster on 0 grade and harder to burn the calories you need.
Why don't you snap on Google, see where that comes out to you? Say, how effective is running on 0 grade on a treadmill?
Okay.
Well, you're not doing it.
Oh, I figured we were up against the break, and before Dan starts doing jumping jacks and getting pissed
Dan
off.
has very little say on when we go to break, John, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Let's be honest here.
Some say running on a treadmill at 0% incline is similar to running on a flat surface outdoors. However, others say you need to increase the incline at faster speeds to compensate for the lack of wind resistance. One source says speeds of 803 minutes per mile or slower. What? The energy cost of running on a treadmill and outdoors is similar, but others say you need to increase the incline to 1%.
Yeah, I think that you got to go at least to 1%, and that's where I'm sticking with this. To the guy at the gym who burned all those calories, you were doing nothing.
We bought a treadmill like years and years ago, the same one that I was trying to move out of the house when I suffered my horrific injury. The guy was trying to sell us on the treadmill. He said, see, this one I like better because it doesn't have any cushioning in the back, and what that does is it wastes energy when your foot is moving to the back of the treadmill and you're wasting energy as you run. I said, isn't that the whole point of a treadmill?
Whole point, yeah.
You're on this thing to waste energy. I'm not entering treadmill competitions. I just want to run and not go outside in the winter.
My ex-wife and I burned out a treadmill. It was obviously mostly her, but we burned one out. We had to get a new one. That was an expensive last birthday gift to her. If I could do it, it'd go over again. I don't think I would have gone treadmill. That's thousands of dollars.
Bigger batting cage.
No, I would have just given her like candy and flowers and said, "There you go."
Here's a card.
Like, I can see that this is ending very soon. All right, so we'll be back with our friend from Baseball America. So hang on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. He's a fan of the show too. Well, not so much the show. You just said that to pitch you off. All right, we'll be right back.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the
We are Tudor and Hardy. Brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel, ladies and gentlemen. You can watch us on YouTube. Simply search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube and get that done. Jeff Ponce is do you want me to read what Dan wrote?
Yeah.
Jeff Ponce is a prospect writer for Baseball America and a big fan of Fred Toucher.
Come on.
Wow. And Jeff joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Jeff, hello, sir. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, boy. Off to a really bad start.
Yeah.
Yeah, you too, Fred. Been a big fan since the Adolfo. Many, many years, man.
All right. Well, listen, Adolfo is coming back.
Party, how are you guys?
Yeah, they're afterthoughts. I understand.
He is.
Yeah. But, Adolfo is coming back. He is going to be staying at my home in September. For how long, that remains to be seen. But September 19th is the date that Adolfo was thrown out there. So Adolfo will be staying at my home. That means that he has to come into work, which means that Nicholas's job is very much in jeopardy. Very much in jeopardy.
Why does he have to come into work?
Well, if Adolfo's here, I want him in. I want him around. I want him at work. I want him here. You should too. Finally, Nick maybe post a video of him. The big boy that got on the management's, and then it pissed me off too. Rick was like, "Why didn't you have anything on socials about Adolfo coming back?" Because he chose you guys. He's friends with you, Fred. And I said, "You know what? You're right. Screw Nick." So this is a chance for Nick to redeem himself.
How does Jeff feel about Nick?
Yeah, what do you think about Nick, Jeff? Do you remember Nick from back in BCN days?
A little bit, yeah, slightly.
He's very forgettable.
Not, wasn't the main character on the show.
No, by no stretch of the imagination was he of any value. All right, well, Jeff, when we look at the trade deadline, first of all, in your opinion, how aggressive should the Red Sox be? Just if it was you, if you were the GM, you're familiar with all the farm systems, you're familiar with the talent at the major league level from the teams that would be dealing. How aggressive would you be if you're the Red Sox?
Yeah, I think they're kind of in an interesting position because they're going to have to compete with the Yankees or the Orioles at the top of the market. They certainly have, the pieces to get it done. The top of this farm system has continued to get better. They added Brady Montgomery last week. Which is another nice piece. It's a really good top five. They're probably in an even better position if Luis Perales doesn't blow out a couple months back. He was a guy that was trending up, was pushed onto our top 100 list, and then sort of pushed off after the injury. And it's a fairly deep farm system. This is as good as this farm system has been in probably 7 or 8 years. And, I've been following prospects for a long time, grew up outside of Pawtucket. I've seen a lot of prospects come up to the Red Sox farm system. It's a more interesting pitching group than they've had in a long time. So they have the ability to go out there and shop for the Crochets or the Skubals or those guys at the top of the market. It's just you're going to have to part with major pieces. So I think if you can get someone like Crochet or Skubal, I think that transforms sort of the top of your rotation. And that's something that they need. I think they need sort of that stopper. They've gotten a lot of guys this year that I think the expectations were probably a little bit lower. Houck and Crawford and some of those other guys coming into the season. They've done a good job with those guys, but I think if, you really want to make a playoff push and what the expectations are here in this market, they would have to trade from that Meyer, Anthony, Teal group. And I don't know if they want to do that. I think that's a core that they do want to keep together. I would imagine that they're probably more likely to shop more in the reliever market, pitching depth. If they feel there's a positional area, second base, somewhere like that, where they can upgrade and they're not going to have to part with any of their top prospects. I think that's more likely just in terms of what I've heard from the organization. But they certainly have the ability to shop at that top of that market. But you're going to have to go toe-to-toe with the Orioles, who have pieces, and the rumors that I've heard in terms of the type of offers that they've made on Crochet are pretty substantial.
You think the Tigers would trade Skubal?
I've heard that. I'm really on the fence as to why they would make that move. They've kind of been building toward this over the last couple of years. They feel like they finally have a direction after the Avila front office sort of kind of screwed the pooch when it came to, that core that they had and not maybe moving the right pieces. They kind of put a lot into the Manning and Mize bucket. It was Scooble of all guys, lower pedigree guy that ended up sort of pushing to the top of that rotation and turning it into something.
Yeah, I think there'd
so
be.
I don't know if they would or not, but we've heard the rumors.
Yeah, that fan base is apathetic enough. I wonder if they could afford to do that, because you're right. When Avila was general manager, it was almost like it was a scam. All right, so you talk about the depth of the farm system, and that's great if you're a Red Sox fan. But how precious? You talked about with the Tigers, that there were pitching prospects above Scooble that were supposed to be the stars, and it turns out that there's a kid that was lower in the system that ended up being the kid that's an all-star. How precious with prospects should you be? When you're doing business, is it better to deal while these prospects are still high? I'm not talking about like the top 3 in your organization, but like guys even like lower in the top 10, and especially where there's redundancies at a position. How is there a point where your farm system gets to a place where you got to start dealing for proven major league talent?
Yeah, and I think they're kind of at that point. You look at a guy like Christian Campbell, it's been a huge development for them with their bat speed program. It's kind of directed a lot of moves, even they made in the draft in terms of targeting like higher skill guys. And I mean, guys that make a lot of contact, guys that have good pitch recognition skills and get on base, and sort of, bringing them in to the system. And Jason Ochart, their hitting coordinator, and, his big thing is adding bat speed to players like this, and it's worked. So I think when you have a win like Christian Campbell, he's doing what he's doing, and then you have players like Miguel Blaze, you have, guys behind him, whether it's Cespedes or Arias, who are, down on the complex, but are impressive offensive players. Arias has a little bit more defensive value than Cespedes does. Those are attractive pieces. And I think you can move those guys in a decent trade, get back a pretty good piece without having to sort of, cut into that up the middle core that they have there in Portland with Teal, with Meyer, and with Anthony, which I think, all 3 of those guys could be above average regulars to, potential plus regulars, borderline all-stars to multi-time all-star type of players. They're all really good ball players, all can hit, all have defensive value. And those are the kind of guys you typically want to keep around your organization because, you talked about it before I jumped on here, but they're guys with control, and there's cost control there that allows them to go out and shop in the free agency market. And I just know from the organization that I think they have a lot of their eggs sort of in that basket of keeping those 3 guys together. And sort of that's the future core of the Red Sox is, Teal, Anthony, Meyer.
How soon will they be here?
I mean, for me with Teal, I honestly think he's almost major league ready. He's a great ball player. You saw him hit a couple of doubles in the Futures game. But I say it to my boss, JJ Cooper, all the time whenever we're talking about Kyle T. He's just a good ball player, like in the old school sense of like he does everything. He's really athletic behind the plate. He's a guy that, though he's a catcher, could probably play in the outfield, almost a la Dalton Varsho, that he's probably not going to be a plus center fielder, but he's got those tools. He did a little bit of that at UVA. Saw him do a little bit of it here on the Cape. And I think he's a guy that you could probably push onto this team if, there were catching issues. Connor Wong's having a great year offensively. Not a great defender. Teal, I think, is, projects to be a better defender. He's, one of these guys catching wise that's just really hard to find a catcher that has good defensive skills that also can really hit. And I mean, it's pound for pound. I mean, he's hitting just as much as Meyer is or Anthony is in Double-A, and he's a baseball rat. We talked to Meyer at the prospect pad that we had the day before the Futures game out in Texas, and he was talking about how Teal in his off days after the Futures game wanted to fly down to the facility in Florida and get some work in the traject machine, which is a pitching machine simulator that allows you to face off against certain major league players, pitchers. And it's just, I think he's just got a different sort of makeup than even other sort of top prospects. So I think he's somebody that could be up pretty quickly. It wouldn't shock me if Meyer's up maybe late this season. Anthony, there's a chance, though he hasn't necessarily had the strength of a season that you sort of expected based on the underlying data. He's a guy that just, EV wise, I mean, he puts up EVs that are, on the same sort of plane as James Wood or some of these other top prospects that, hit the ball as hard as just about anybody in baseball. So, it's a really interesting group there at the top. And I think there's excitement there, but, if the right deal is there to be made and you can get a guy like Crochet with a couple of years of control and, a lefty that's really breaking out, I think that's the difference between position prospects and pitching prospects where, you can kind of project out the success of a lot of positional players. I don't think the adjustment, though it's a big jump from, AA or AAA to the majors, probably as big as it's ever been. I think you can project those guys to have a little bit more success as they settle in. There's a lot of development with pitching that happens at the major league level. So it's not always the top prospects that turn into the best pitchers. I mean, you can look at, the guys that have won Cy Youngs over the last several years. They weren't all guys that were ranking in the top 10 to 15 in our top 100.
Jeff, you said that this was the best the farm system has looked in, say, 7 years. Has this all been the build back from Dombrowski? And not to say that the moves Dombrowski made didn't work. I mean, Chris Sale was a deal for, I think, 4 prospects, and they went on to win the World Series the next year, and a lot of the moves he made worked. But is that essentially what happened? It was depleted at that point, and it's been this long to build it back up?
Yeah, I mean, that's the narrative around Dombrowski, but I will give him credit here. He traded the right prospects. I mean, Nobody that they've moved in any of those deals has really burnt them. They held on to Devers at that point, and, obviously he's your franchise guy at this point. And there were some decent draft picks that were made under Dombrowski that, have developed maybe into more of the depth side of things. I think over the last couple of years, they've just, the team hasn't been as good. They've been shopping at the top of the draft. They've gotten some better players there. And, the guys they've given bigger bonus to tend to work out. I think in terms of them rebuilding, a lot of it had to do with the team sort of not being as good and them shopping in the right places. And their international group has always done a good job. So they've been able to backfill the system with a lot of like higher profile, higher upside, international positional signings.
All right. Well, Jeff Ponce, we appreciate everything, and especially being such a fan of mine, Jeff. And that is where,
of course.
Baseball America is a wonderful. It's the place to be if you want to know what's going on throughout an organization. Yes, Hardy, you had something to say.
I wanted to make sure it's not Pontes. It's Ponce.
No, it's Ponce. Yeah, I'm Portuguese. So it's one syllable, we like to swallow our words.
Yeah, I had it right the whole time, Jeff. Don't worry
I
about
was
it.
just double checking. What do you give me the way to go for, Dan O'Brien? Well, because you're immune from making mistakes or not checking ahead of time. I just didn't want to continue insulting the guy. I'd rather err on the side of caution and not insulting.
I was the one who walked in and wrote the correct pronunciation.
Yeah.
Oh, Dan F.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for the time, sir. We'll love to have you on again in the future.
He did. He asked me ahead of time, so there you go.
All right, that's enough. That's really
all right,
quite
thank
enough
you, Jeff.
between Dan and Fred. I mean,
anytime, guys.
All right, appreciate it, Jeff. Appreciate it. There you go.
I didn't care. I didn't care for him.
Thought he was a little too on the nose.
A little too praiseworthy of you and Dan, quite frankly.
Yeah,
it's just
I mean, you can't. If we didn't have people on that were fans of mine, who we're going to have on? All right. Probably a bunch of broads.
There it is.
Probably a bunch of hens that can't take the shock. You know what I'm saying? I want people that have been down since day one. That's who I want on this show. If we said, oh, you can't be a fan of Fred, you can't be a fan of Fred, I'm bagging out. I don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. They'd be like, I don't know. Roach would be gone. I'd be gone.
Fred, I'd be gone.
That's right, Dan.
Been here since day one.
That's right, Danny. All right. We'll be back in just a moment. Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. You can email us, Jon. I know. Jon at 985thesportshub.com. Hardy at 985thesportshub.com. Toucher at 985thesportshub.com. You can Toucher and Hardy on Instagram and Twitter and I believe maybe Facebook. And you can follow me at Fred Toucher on Instagram on the account. I can't be on Twitter anymore because it was too much freedom. I couldn't have that. Not good for me. I'm supposed to go to, well, I am. I'm going to Charleston with my son on Wednesday after the show. He'll be here on Wednesday, so hang on to your hats because we're leaving right from here to the airport. But I'm taking to Charleston for a baseball tournament. He hasn't been able to throw. He can hit, but he hasn't been able to throw for like a while. And he got an X-ray that was okay, and then he got an MRI, which I get the results at 10:15 this morning, just on speakerphone.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you, if he can't pitch and I'm going to Charleston, I don't leave till Sunday. I'm there from Wednesday to Sunday. That's a lot of just sitting there watching other kids play.
Well, he's going to hit, right? They'll hit him.
Yeah, I know, but he's not like, I don't know if he's going to play in every game. If he, like if the guy goes, the guy thinks he'll be able to throw at least from like a position. I don't know what's going on with him, to be honest with you. But the guy said he could throw from like, he probably could play a position. Maybe, and he's left-handed, so he can't play
So first base, basically.
First,
be an
or
outfielder.
he could be an outfielder. If he can throw, he can play in the outfield. I just don't know if he can pitch. Why couldn't he be an outfielder?
I was just going to say more taxing on the arm to make a longer
yeah.
throw.
I get it.
So first base.
But chances are, like, what do you throw the ball like 5 times in a game? I guess you throw hard, but it's different than pitching. Like pitching, you could throw 100 pitches. So a bit of pressure riding on this MRI. He played yesterday. He threw a little bit, and he said it didn't hurt.
Okay,
but we'll see where it is. I don't know what's going on. I can't get in his body. He can't describe discomfort, which is very frustrating to me. I'm like, does it stick? First of all, like he doesn't want to answer questions. But I'm like,
it's like a baby or a dog.
It's like I'm taking you. Yeah, exactly. I'm taking you to Charleston. I'm taking you no matter what because it's important that he's with his friends. Like that's the whole thing. They screw around. They're old enough now where they have some freedom. They can like go to the beach by themselves and stuff like that. So I'm going to take them no matter what, but I still have to be there for 5 days and like go to these games. So like I'm like, does it hurt? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how does people describe to you pain? Does it sting? He's like, what sting mean? Does it sting like a bee? I've never been stung by a bee. All right. Well, is it sore? Like sore? Oh my God! Like
sores,
like I'm sore. I don't know. We don't have chocolate or graham crackers. It's sore. So, like, just getting him to describe, and then, like, where does it hurt? Where does it hurt? Shoulder. I told you. Where in your shoulder? Can you point to it? Again, like this is trips to the doctor.
I can't point to it. My shoulder hurts.
Yeah.
Now use the other arm.
Which arm is the other arm? And then, and so it's like here, like where? And then put his hand on it, just covering his shoulder. Where? Like point to the area, like here.
Front or back?
But he can't say sore or sting or sharp pain. Is it a sharp pain?
Is it a throbbing pain? Is it a dull ache?
Yeah, like there's a difference, because you guys know there's a big difference with injuries between sore and in a biting, splitting pain.
Something that feels
which
like
it's
there's
not.
anatomically wrong.
Right,
when
which
you
it's
move.
not, because he's not going to I don't know what's going on. And apparently an MRI, they did an X-ray because they thought it could be the growth plate. But that's fine. Mm-hmm. And then he said that his range of motion was a little bit worse on his left-handed than his right side. But he said the strength was good. So he said, I believe he'll be able to at least play a position. But we'll see. So there's a lot of pressure riding here at 10:15.
Okay.
Only because I'm headed to Charleston, South Carolina. I would like at least to see him play if I'm going to have to sit at games, all day, all week. Like, if I'm going to get to see games, I'd like my son to play because I don't want to sit there and watch other kids play because I want them all to do well, but I ultimately don't care how they do. I only care really how my son does. I'd like the team to win, but I don't have money on it, It's not life or death for me.
Charleston's a good town, though. There are worse places to be.
But there are worse places to be, but there's way worse places. It could be baseball heaven in the middle of Long Island. There's way worse places. No, my Hofstra brother, no offense. But still, I still have to sit at games. Like, games are games. They're going to play. If you're in Charleston, New York City, you're on the moon. You're playing baseball. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
All right, Mark, go ahead real quick. Mark, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm glad we finally have someone to articulate the pains that parents have to go through with the madness of trying to get descriptions out of their kids. Listening to that was hitting home too close. Now, 2 quick thoughts. First, Red Sox. Should we be preparing as fans to get jock straps and cups on to the kid of nuts that's about to come at trade deadline when they make no...
All right, you're breaking up. I'm sorry. You waited on hold for a long time, but you're complaining that they won't make moves at the trade deadline. I don't know. I'm not positive that's true. They're starting to sound like they might.
I don't know how they do that 2 years in a row.
Yeah,
I just
regardless of what happens over the next week, and they should take 2 out of 3. Colorado's a terrible team.
Sure.
Regardless of what happens, this team has earned the right for management to make some sort of move.
They're not going to sell.
It doesn't, right. Selling's out the window. They're not going to sell anything.
They're not going to get rid of Jansen, who they could get some for.
No. Now I think they keep everybody and try and add. It'll probably be minor. I don't think they're going to deal off any of their top prospects, but they've earned this club has earned the right to try and get a little better for ownership to invest in them a little bit.
All right, we were talking about flag football earlier, and Florio talking about with all these concussion things, could the league move to that? Danny, go ahead.
Hey, guys. My name's Danny. I grew up in Braintree. My son ended up playing varsity sports at every sport. He ended up playing soccer, not football. But no offense, you shouldn't badmouth flag football because at least the kids are running around.
Whoa. If your kid wants to play flag football, there's nothing wrong with playing flag football.
I don't think we're bad-mouthing it at all. We're just talking about the impact on tackle football.
And I was also talking about how the coaches take it way too seriously for the sport that it is.
I agree with you guys. No, I'm with you on that. No, he ended up playing regular football for Braintree High School. He didn't go pro or nothing. But I'm a big sports fanatic. So I'm sorry. I didn't mean to badmouth you guys. Thank you. I love this show.
My son played flag football. I wish he didn't play tackle football. It ruined his freshman year. He had to do it over again. I reclassed him because he had a concussion. It's not even for sports. He had a concussion for a month.
Yeah.
He was running on, they didn't have him hit in the beginning of the season. They didn't teach him how to hit, so he gets into a game against bigger kids and he just got his head knocked off.
When Zoe comes in, if he's in today, ask him about flag because I think his son played flag, and if I remember, he's like supportive of it because it gets kids playing football.
Yeah,
and it gets them playing sports.
Flag football, though, as a spectator watching it at an Olympic level, it's a ridiculous game. It's not. It's ridiculous. It's stupid.
That's the thing. We mentioned that earlier in the show. The big difference between playing and watching. Big difference.
Yeah, but like I rode my bike at construction sites, going over hills of dirt, and that was fun. And I wouldn't mind if my kids did that. But as an organized Olympic sport, it's not. There's a lot of things that I want my kids to do I don't want to watch at the Olympics, like get kicked out of stores and stuff for being, goofy.
Yeah. And we used to play flag. I mean, somebody in the neighborhood had actual flags, which was, rich kid, right?
Yeah, I can only imagine.
But the fact that you could go out and that's something you can go do, and it was fun, and it was something that
Who's the wuss that had flags? Because that was a kid that was just bagging out of playing tackle in the streets.
No, I think it was Jeff Kasimba, and he was a good athlete. He played a lot of sports, and he was good. But I think they're like very sporty family, so they had all the equipment.
Yeah, because
and a good yard.
You were playing tackle. In elementary school, they let us play tackle football in the playground.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
on the asphalt.
Oh sure.
Oh no, we didn't play on the asphalt. That would have been bad. We played, but I remember like wanting to go to school so bad because I was so excited to play flag football, and you'll never have that again. None of us. We'll be that excited to do something so easily put together.
Yeah.
Not flag football, but football in elementary school. And then you discover girls, and then everything goes out the window.
Right.
Jonathan says, would you rather be stuck in an elevator or on a roller coaster?
Elevator. Because elevators are designed for safety and not for scaring and not for thrills. The roller coaster, I mean, you've seen the images of those people stuck upside down.
Yeah. I'd rather
hours.
be in an elevator than upside down on a roller coaster. But again, I could scoot off. I could get myself out of the roller coaster and maybe scoot down the tracks if I absolutely had to. Go ahead.
I don't know that you could. You're going to get yourself out of the harness.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe they wouldn't let me out. Go ahead.
Another one. We were talking about this one from Julius. Stuck in an elevator or stuck on a boat out at sea. I don't know how big the boat would be. It's not specified here, but
Elevator. Because be careful, before you go on a big boat trip, even if the boat looks real big, because it ain't as big as your house, and that thing moves. I told you, my parents live on this big lake, and there's people that will buy these, almost yachts, 2-bedroom boats. And they were going, because you can take from their lake, you can take it in waterways up to Canada. You can take it out to the Atlantic Ocean on boat. You can get from East Tennessee to the Atlantic Ocean on a boat from where my parents live. And they know 3 couples that have done it, that have bought these big-ass boats and done it. And 2 of them, swear to God, got divorced. And they were old. They were in 60s, 70s, and they got divorced. Why? Why?
Because they took a long boat trip together.
And when you're on a jet ski and you go by the boats, you're like, Jesus Christ, these boats. I mean, they're $1 million boat, like a big old boat. This is unbelievable. Look at the size of that thing. Yeah, I guarantee after 3 weeks on that.
It ain't that big.
And not being able to dock because of weather. And you're just, because if the dock closes, it's closed. You can't go in. So you're just stuck in basically a 2-bedroom apartment going up and down, having an earthquake, 24-hour earthquake. And you're just in it with things falling off the shelves and everything else and throwing up. Ugh. Yeah, think about it. If you're on I don't know how many feet, I'm going to sound dumb either way, but if you're on a big boat, it's still
a John Henry yacht is basically what we're
No.
talking about.
I'm not talking about John Henry yacht, Johnny.
Okay.
They don't have John Henry money. But I'm
60-footer. I don't know.
60-footer. I mean, that thing's gonna get thrown around if the sea comes up. Yeah. There's things more powerful than ourselves. Even though we like to put ourselves at the top, you can't conquer the sea, ladies and gentlemen. The sea will win that battle.
I have one here that requires some audio, so maybe we should wait and do it during the stack.
You do it. You will do it during the stack. Don't worry about it. Did Hulk Hogan come out during the RNC?
Yes.
Said, hard not to get misty-eyed hearing Hogan. This is from Max. Hearing Hogan reminisce on when he successfully defended the WWF World Heavyweight Championship against Andre the Giant and hit a body slam on the 520-pound Andre, which dubbed the body slam heard around the world and won the match after a leg drop. If Biden in any sense, he would have brought up the Hulkster would eventually lose to Andre the Giant just years after beating him, this time in front of 33 million viewers, and the main event won after a convoluted scam involving the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and Earl Abner. But I digress. Love the new show. And that's Max in Detroit. I was at WrestleMania 3 when he slammed Andre the Giant, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house.
Andre couldn't move around too well back then. Didn't they bring a fork? Didn't they forklift him into the ring?
They had, bullpen carts.
Yeah.
They had little rings that they took the wrestlers out. I remember that event vividly. What was that, 85? So I was 10? Was that 85 or 87?
Yeah, that was the one I was supposed to go to, and my friend, Mark Harper's dad's friend, didn't get tickets ahead of time. He was coming over to pick us up and take us. It was at the Silverdome, right?
Yeah, my dad got us 7th row seats.
March of 87.
So I was 12 years old. I remember that vividly.
Well, yeah, 7th row at WrestleMania. Hell yeah, I'd remember that the rest of my life too. Fred, I remember not going. I remember being down at Mark Harper's house and finding out we weren't going after all.
Why was that a big deal?
Yeah,
that
it
was
was
such a big deal.
It was like Tyson Holyfield.
It really was. It was like a really, really big deal. That must be the most popular wrestling ever was, right?
Oh, well, for me, yes.
87? No, but
87, 88? Sure.
Like, that was a national thing. Like, WrestleMania 3 was
everyone
like,
remembers that.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember that. I had nothing. I wasn't in Detroit. I had nothing to do with it. Yes,
Yeah.
I wanted to go see it.
It makes growing up in Detroit worthwhile. that day in 1987. Because we lived there when it was a real dump. Now it's all nice.
I'm looking at the next year. They had the rematch between the two. They held it in Atlantic City.
Yeah. And not so big anymore.
No.
Hey, guys, it's never been bigger than right now. If you're into technical, they got some real technicians out there. Bruno Sammartino style. Every time when I was a kid, they would talk about Bruno Sammartino being a great technical wrestler. I'm like, isn't this all acting? Technically doing what? Technically jumping off. I want to see guys flipping around and stuff. I want to see big fat guys like King Kong Bundy splashing the Asian kid who's a little guy. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see technical anything. But then I fell in love with Bruno Sammartino's daughter and married her. And here we are today.
Go figure.
And here we are today. Getting married tomorrow. Me and Sammartino's daughter. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines. Stack, man. It's time for The Stack on Touch Your End.
Big fan of the show. New one, Hardy, you're sounding great. Wallach, big fan. And Fred, you're there. My son just started to play pitcher for his baseball team a little bit more this season, and I would ask him, how's your arm feel after pitching? And he would tell me, I don't know, it's sore. And I'd go, okay, where is it sore? My arm, Dad. My arm is sore. Tell me where is it sore? Point to it. My arm is sore. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what I got.
Yeah, it's impossible. It's frustrating, especially when you're going to Charleston with the boy, as I am on Wednesday. If he's hurt, I don't want him to throw, obviously, but if he's not hurt, I would like to see him play rather than see strangers' kids play. So that would be where I'm at now. The Stack is brought to you by Best Ford in Nashua. If you're looking for great deals on new Fords, go to the Best First, Best Ford in Nashua. Head to thebestfordnh.com. And you can also know that we are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel.
Joey emailed in. This is something I wanted to save. He said, first of all, he spit out his toothpaste while he was listening to that idiot's 911 call.
I crashed my flying machine. Ah.
Yeah, the flying machine guy.
Call 911.
There's some people that have emailed me like they find that to be disturbing.
Why?
I don't know. I find it to be very funny.
I could not stop laughing at it. I've heard it in its entirety at least 3 times.
I'm on the same page with Hardy here. I enjoy it immensely.
Yeah. But he said, all that talk about skydiving, does that remind you of the monster hit Skydiver from the immortal band Stum from the mid-'90s? Now, Fred, this may have been at a time when you were in college and ignoring a lot of stuff as we do in college.
Yeah, there is from 93 to 97, I did not consume popular culture.
Yes. But the band Stum had the song Skydiver, 1995, I see now. I would have guessed 96, but see if you remember this at all. From Northern Ireland.
It sounds like I know what they're trying to do and they weren't able to do it.
What are they
That's
trying
the
to
best
do?
way to describe it. They were trying to sound harder than they did, and the singer was trying to sound punker than he did. I know exactly what they were trying to do. And they were trying to be like kind of like ironically with the maybe not even ironic, but like hard with what they were doing, and they just didn't do it right.
Well, this is what I mostly remember about the band Stum. I had moved from Lansing to Albuquerque to work for the same program director I'd worked with for a time in East Lansing. So he hires me down there. He's brand new in town. We're both brand new in town. Neither one of us New Mexico natives, right? And he's trying to ingratiate himself to like the Albuquerque town council, and he wants to put on an Edge Fest. Mm-hmm. And he's doing his big presentation. He needs the permits. He needs the space. He needs all
the
this,
girls
right?
to torture the men.
And they're like, well, what's the music going to be like? And he's like, our headliner, which of course was probably shoved down his throat by some indie. He said, is this band Stum. And they're from Ireland. They're going to be the next U2. They're going to be huge. And they're like, oh, they're getting all excited. And he's selling him on it. And he says, well, can we hear it? And he goes, yes, of course. I have the song. And the Albuquerque City Council sitting around, nodding their heads. Okay. Not hearing the unifying city gathering sound that you're explaining to us here. What's this going to be like? It's a 50-second intro to the song.
Well, at least you had time to pimp Edgefest during the intro.
That isn't the intro. That's after the first chorus. That went on for about 40 more seconds. Then he just repeats the same thing.
Yeah, I've never. This is the first time in my life I've ever heard this song.
A couple of months ago, Dan asked me, when's the last time you heard that? I'd gone down the hall to talk to Adam 12 one day. I'm like, oh, my God. I went back and listened to Stum Skydiver for some reason. He goes, oh, I did too over the weekend. Isn't that a great song?
Terrible.
I said, no. that was terrible.
Yeah, Adam sends me stream of consciousness texts. Like I can tell you the last text he sent me. I didn't even text him back. I didn't know what he wanted me to do with it. The last text he sent me was on Saturday at 6:34 in the evening. I feel like we reached that 15 years later sweet spot when a younger generation discovers the underappreciated act with Das Racist. Need some young influencer that's Cade or Milo's age to use one of their songs on TikTok, blow them up, reunion tour, etc. And I'm like, what do you want me to do with that? Like, how am I supposed to respond to that? Like, you just thought of something and typed it. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to say. I love Adam, but I mean, come on, Adam. What am I supposed to do with that? Manny, go ahead.
Hey, real quick, guys. I tweeted you guys a video from Good Morning America or ABC. There's actually more to the story with this paraglider. There's somebody recording him on the ground. He actually let go, like he released himself from the whatever his machine, because he saw a soft landing bush. So if you see the video from the recording, he actually let go of the damn thing and he jumped. He pretty much jumped.
Yeah, he did the wrong thing, I'm guessing, because that is no soft landing whatsoever. I don't know why you would let go of something before it hits the ground. Wouldn't that make the fall like conceivably longer? Like that, like at least if you have a glider,
it's going to slow you down.
Yeah, it's going to slow you down a little bit.
Yeah,
like I'd want to get caught in a tree. Like I wouldn't want to release myself into a bush.
I'm in the desert.
That could puncture your scrotum. I don't mean to be gross, but I mean, like, if you hit like a stick, I mean, that could puncture your skin. I would want it to land on the. He said he was in the desert. I'd land on the hard desert floor before a bush.
I crashed my flying machine. Ah.
Yeah, I don't know. I love it.
I can't get enough of it.
Sweet dreams and
flying machine
in pieces on the ground.
Ah.
In the same spot where his friend died, flying the same type of contraption.
Yep.
Oh, it was a YouTube tribute to his friend.
Go.
Flying machine. Call 911.
There you go. Anytime someone's filming themselves doing something like that, it's never a bad thing when they get injured. It's a cautionary tale.
I'm with you.
It's your pride getting the best of you, my friend. You just want everyone looking at you. Well, everyone did, and they saw you break all that stuff. They said I could lose my arm. They said I was going to lose my arm. You know those stories I was always going to, and then it never happened. I was going to lose my arm. Were you? Because it's still there.
Late email coming in. Apparently the lead singer from Stum, Christian, has lived in the Boston Somerville area for decades.
Oh, good. Maybe he's listening.
He has a
Wait,
band.
an Irish guy moved to Somerville?
I know. He had a band, Hybrisol, after, and he's been solo a long time. He's very good and a great guy. All right.
Well, then everyone should like the band.
I like it now. Thank you.
You know,
Paul.
Juliana Hatfield lives in Cambridge. She has for a long time. Are you ever a Juliana Hatfield fan?
Yeah, the My Sister song. Juliana Hatfield 3.
See, I like the Heartbeat, the Universal Heartbeat song.
Was she in Blake Babies too?
I don't know.
Lemonheads for a minute?
No, she dated Dando.
I think she may have been, maybe she toured with them or something.
Maybe she didn't date Dando. I think she dated Ryan Adams.
Oh.
For a period.
I like Ryan Adams.
Yeah, you do.
I do.
Yeah, I know.
Whiskey Town.
I loved Whiskey Town.
That first Whiskey Town album is unbelievable.
I was at that Americana station, and I didn't know what it was doing, and we played Whiskey Town. I said, wait a second, I like this.
Yep.
All right, so that'll do it for us. Everyone have a great day. I saw Joe Murray, so he's here today.
Zoe was supposed to be here, but he informed Jim Louth this morning that he's on vacation.